Oh, so happy. Nelson Oliveria. Wow, thank you so much. I apologize if I've messed up your name. I had an American dream. Wow, it's kind of a sad story, really. I stayed in America for about 4 or 5 months. Amazing. Wow. When I was like 19 years old, it's paradise. Let me compose myself. Wow. Everything American I loved. I was like obsessed with America. It's paradise. Wow. I'll tell you the story. Wow. My nightmare story. Stop. I'm gonna live the American dream. Wow. Oh, that was my wish. I wanted to move there for good. But something happened in America that changed and broke my dreams. My dreams as a kid all disappeared. Let me compose myself because it's one hell of a story. I go out at night time. Wow. Oh, 10 o'clock at night. Walking down the street in a line with a bunch of men. It's wet. So I'm walking around the street and then the police siren. Whoop, 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 whoop. Police, police. Wow. It's damn. I'm standing there. And the police officer tells me to put my hands up. And he says, where's the bag? Where's the bag? You're screwed. Wow. I wouldn't be able to run very far, trust me. He threw me against the car, legs spread wide open. It's wet. And I'm searched. Oh, love it. Why are you sweating? Where's the bag? Butt naked. I'm strip searched. Cavity checks. It's paradise. I got sent to jail. Wow. Legs spread. I'm a little bit chubby. In a line with a bunch of men. Amazed. Walking down the street. Wow. Send a super chat of $50. I can tell you the intimate story. It's paradise. Cavity checks. Wow. Oh, wet. 30 men in the cell take a dump in front of everyone. It's paradise. So happy. Wow. Oh. If we can get a super chat of $50. I'm just walking down the street. 16, 18 at a time. Which one is the best one to choose? Top or bottom? It's sad. It's very sad. What happened in America? It's disgusting.
Wow, guys. This is the AC3 live stream. I am the narrative, guys. Let's talk some watches. I figured, you know what? We would do a show a little bit earlier today. Archie's been starting at about 7 o'clock here on the East Coast. And yeah, look, it's he spends 20 minutes trying to get people on the panel, and we don't really get into the watches too much. So I thought, you know what? Let's go through a full hour and a half at least of some watch talk and see what happens with the Pontiff. I'll greet everybody in the chat here. We got Collector Invest, the first in the chat. Nice to see you, Nathan. I like some of the vintage Citizen watches. 2-color or pattern designs of the watch for the price. All right, I think, Nathan, you said you're going to hop on a little later. Definitely show it to us when Archie is here. BC, always consistent, telling us it's pure shite. We got One You See It, who says only tans. You know what? It's funny because when the original term, the Good Guy Alliance, came out, it was in reference to when I was with, other channels, really fighting with Bear and stuff. And they called us the Good Guy Alliance. And I was like, you know what? Like, only tans is a bit of a, I think they could have branded it a bit better. And I think only tans would have been the right one to choose. Now, Rich Mitch, 2 British pounds, first super chat of the night, who says, you touched me. Well, we do hope here at the Archie Luxury channel that Archie has touched many lives out there in the Archieverse. I know he's touched many of us in a very, very loving and endearing way into our hearts. So, yeah, Rich Mitch, I hope that is what you mean. We've got the Gangsta in the house who says, I'm only ever fashionably late. Yeah, you know what? A minute late. I was planning to be on time. I was actually in the studio, but you got me there. Gangsta, I was definitely late. We got my good friend Thomas Burnett. Pillar 1 talk at the ready. Yep, we're definitely going to be doing some Pillar 1 talk. Got a couple of topics prepared, but obviously, definitely want to riff with the chat, answer your questions, talk to you guys about watches. We got Dodger who says, tell us the difference between a Perpetual and eternal calendars. Yeah, so in the perpetual calendar, um, the date will have to be changed at I think around the every 100-year mark. So at or yeah, at the 2100-year mark, for example, it would have to be changed. So my perpetual calendar will work up until literally the year 2100, and then have to take it into a watchmaker and and whatnot. Sorry, it has to be set, at the year 2100. Sorry, you don't have to take it to a watchmaker. Some of them you might have to take to a watchmaker actually in 2200 and 2300, because there are some watches that have like actual, I think, digital display dates or what have you, whatever you want to call them. And realistically, some of them don't actually go up that high. So if you were trying to keep that watch in your family for 200 years, I think the IWC Da Vinci Perpetual came up with a good solution for that. But eternal calendars, Dodger, you don't have to do that adjustment at the 2100, 2200, 2300 year mark. So that would be the difference between a perpetual calendar and an eternal calendar. No Bobby Google needed for that. Gangsta says Mookie has made Lux more interesting than in reality. Yeah, that clip is actually quite epic. I didn't actually like it when it first came out. I thought it was, yeah, I don't know. The GTA vibe it grew on me, but I thought Vice City would have been, Vice City would have been cool. Something in Miami, or the look of Vice City would have been cool. We got Skyson boys, nice to see you, man. Jock keeps talking about like sneaker collections, and Skyson was wearing a fire pair of Nike Air Force Ones at the BQ event. I think it was customized, so really, really cool. Definitely check out our boy Skyson whenever he comes on the stream. Really good guy on the show. Dodger says Archie cooks a mean breakfast at 5 a.m. Yeah, I wasn't really. It wasn't surprising to me that Archie would, he'd help out in the house. He's like that, right? I think a lot of people got that vibe from him. So yeah, I think he. I think I wasn't surprised, but I am happy, obviously, that you guys got to experience that. Dodger says IWC won a record. Does any other company make eternal calendars? I'm not sure. Obviously, I'm familiar with the one you're talking about. I'm just not sure. I haven't really looked it up. Hasn't really been, on my radar. Perpetual calendars, good enough for me. And we got JB in the house who says, let's go. All right, boys, let's talk about wrist watches. Just want to give a shout out first to our good friend, Mr. Zoso, who picked up, I think a few days ago, a New York edition 5230 Patek Philippe World Time. I'm going to pull it up here. Let me just Google images it for you guys. But really, really cool. Really, really cool watch. Limited, I think, to 300 pieces. I'm going to try to get a live photo if I can of the watch, because don't really want to look at it in renders, but hey, we could probably show this one here from Analog Shift. And here you can see here on the left, the New York edition of the 5230 in white gold. On the right, you see the 5231 with a cloisonné dial. Comparative on to the left. The left is one that Mr. Zoso got, New York edition. You got hand guilloche on the dial. And this is really, really important. It's an important point because the watch I just showed on the screen here, this one is the updated World Time. And you can see here in the center, it's a stamped carbon motif. And that's actually, significantly different from the previous generation World Time, the one that Mr. Zoso has, the one that I have, which actually had hand guilloche dials. So I think that, using a stamped carbon motif really kind of cheapens the watch a bit, in the new generation. People are going to call me out for hating on the new one because I have the old one. That's all good. But yeah, I mean, to me, losing that hand guilloche, because if you think about it, a guilloche dial is somewhat of a piece unique, if you want to say that for the sense of the word. Not every dial is going to be the same. They're going to be manufactured differently. So, yeah, look, I think this is a really cool piece, especially for someone who lives in the New York area. It means something to them because I think World Times, I never really got World Times, guys. Like I've owned Patek Philippe's for a long time, and I never bought a World Time. And, I was of the same mentality that I think a lot of folks, out there are. Oh, it's the dog of the range. It's not hype. It's not popular. I fell under that same trap. And when I, obviously I've been in the Archieverse for a while, and in more recent, probably in the last 1.5 years, started, inquiring with, World Time owners about their experience because, I was I'm always in my journey. We're going to talk about collector journeys here in a second after this little segment on Zoso's World Time. In my journey, I was, I've always kind of I've always tried to seek out something new in the watch space. When you think about it, um, you know, Russ has got his spot on Patek cheaped out with a new stamp dial. And I mean, Russ knows better than anyone, better than me on that sentiment too. So in my journey, I always try to seek out something new in watch collecting. I'm known for obviously speaking about Patek Philippe. It's a brand that obviously you guys know I have a big love for and have not a decent amount of knowledge on. But I like to expand my horizons in collecting, and we're going to talk about the collector journey in a second. But for me, the world time was intriguing. It's something I hadn't looked at, so I started asking around, and what I started to learn from people was the story behind it. Like, it was less about the accuracy of it, right? Oh well, shit, daylight savings times and whatnot. They didn't care about that. They said, look, when you look at that dial, when you look at this dial that we have, on the screen, Mr. Zosso's dial, you see. All these different cities in the world, and when I look at my world time now, and I look at London on the world time, I remember about the trip with Archie and everybody else, and all the great times I had. When I look at other cities in the world that I've been to, it gives me memories, and it's really one of those watches that you really can't replace because not many watches can do that. My perpetual calendar, for example, does not evoke the same emotion from me than when I look at this dial and I think of New York and I think of Watch Time New York, or going to the U.S. Open last year, meeting JJ and Hoff for the first time. Like, just great memories these watches bring. And that's what really roped me into World Time. So, just wanted to give a big shout out to Mr. Zosso for picking up the 5230G New York edition. I think limited to 300. I could be wrong, but I think it's 300. There's a big shout out. We do have a massive super chat here from Happy Meal, $100. Thank you so much, Curly, who says, Patek and pussy, I eat one and look at the other. Thanks for what you do in the Archie vs. Tan. Boycotts are for pussies. I would agree, Curly. I would agree. Obviously, appreciate the support, man. That means a lot. We just haven't done a lot of watch talk in the last little bit, and I think a lot of folks have just been, there's a lot of people who come here just to listen to, watch talk. I mean, we're a watch channel, right? So I wanted to make sure that before Archie gets here, you guys get, if you guys want to talk watches in the chat, you want me to pull up some stuff, we can definitely go through that. But I did want to talk about the collector journey because I kind of started there, and I found this graph here about the collector journey as I was looking for, what does the collector journey mean? Maybe I'll just make it slightly bigger if I can, so that you guys can see everything. I don't want to cut anything off on the screen. That's the best I can do, guys. Phases of watch collecting. So it says you start at Seiko, then you start buying Tag Heuers and other shitter Swiss. Then you finally get to one decent Swiss. Stage 4 is you buy all Rolex. Stage 5, it's vintage bitch. Stage 6 is you're being a smartass. And you can see here through the graph. So basically, the life cycle or the journey or the phases, whatever you want to call it, of watch collecting. Because as I described, I go through, as in my journey, it's going to be different than everybody else's. But it's funny because I was on the phone with Clyde earlier, and we talked about the watch collecting journey. And everybody, this is obviously a parody, I guess you could say, on the journey, but. Yeah, Buckley, I was gonna save that for after my monologue where I was gonna start putting people on, but we will definitely do that. I'll definitely, I'll drop the link in a little bit, and I'll let people hop on if they wanted to talk about it, or I'll just talk about myself. But a lot of times people talk about the collecting journey as, you start off with something cheap. Everybody, buys Seiko or whatever, or they're gifted something, not too expensive. Then they get into, they make a bit of coin, they get into Rolex potentially, or they get into maybe something still, luxury like an Omega or a Breitling. But eventually everybody gets at some point to Rolex. Big fan favor, a lot of simping, a lot of love for Rolex. And then after a while, people say you get bored and they start looking elsewhere. I mean, and then I think the full circle of that, what people call the stereotypical watch journey, is you come back to Rolex in the end, and then it's over, right? So this one actually used Seiko as an example because you start cheap, and probably at the end of your life you're going to go for cheap stuff. But the way I see it is no collector journey is the same. I heard Ray yesterday on Tim's channel, talking about just, hey, I was hanging out with a bunch of guys who just collect Bulova. That's all they do, and they're fans of Bulova, right? They just love it. I know people like that who just collect Seikos. I know people like that who just collect divers. And again, I think a lot of us, we kind of, we're in a small community. There's a lot of what I would say is groupthink going on around the community where, it's always talking about the same stuff, and there's just not a lot of new ideas. And when new ideas come up, they're sometimes kind of turned down for, hey, like I don't want to lose any money, or it's not hyped or whatever. But I would say that a lot of folks, go on a journey that's not like that. It's not about, you don't have to get to Rolex. There's no levels, right? People talk about levels, like, oh, you have to get, after Rolex is high horology. It's yeah, man, you can enjoy watch collecting and not give a flying fuck about high horology. Because what is high horology, right? It's just really decorating movements, decorating cases. If you don't care about the art, if you're an art lover, great, right? You'll love that stuff. I love art. I'm shit at art. I was the worst in art class. I was terrible, but I appreciate it. I love it. Um, for me, it's something that really tickles my fancy. But yeah, that's not for everybody. A guy like Buckley may be like, "Fuck that! I don't care about art. Like, I just want something that looks nice on my wrist, or I want something that's usable. I want something that's durable, whatever it may be." Right? Everyone's kind of got different needs and different reasons for collecting. But I thought this was funny because we can probably put people on this list. So look, I did talk to so for those that know, our good friend Mookie runs Mookie Town with Happy Meal. We do show after shows here after the Archie Luxury Channel and after JJ often enough. Mookie did put himself on this list for us prior to the show, and he's in the number 6 range of always being a smartass. Buckley says he's on step 8, where he's realizing the watch industry is full of shit. And honestly, Buckley, you probably are. Like it doesn't mean that, like, when you think of these stages, people think it requires, a decade of collecting or whatever. Nah, man, you can go through these real quick. You can get a Rolex, buy a bunch of Rolexes, buy a bunch of vintage watches, you talk a bunch of shit online, and then finally realize that it's just everyone's full of shit within a span of 2 years, man. Like, super simple. So yeah, I mean, I think you could be on step 8 now. Archie Luxury. We're going to put Archie Luxury on this. Definitely doesn't like Seiko, doesn't care about, Tag Heuers and having it one decent Swiss. Um, he's past the vintage. I think he's past 7. He doesn't really talk about vintage. He is a vintage expert. He's a lot of knowledge on vintage. Definitely, he knows that the watch industry is full of shit, but I don't think he's at 10. I don't think he's at Seiko, as in, like, he's just going to retire with a shitter watch. I think Archie Luxury is pretty advanced. I'm going to put him at a 9. And I would put probably Clyde at a 9 as well. Now, let's go a bit on the other side of the spectrum here. So on this graph here, I would say Bear Clooney watches, I'm going to put it as a 4. Buy all Rolex. Buy all Rolex. Bear doesn't give a fuck, man. He hasn't got there. I think Bear is in number 4, and I would also put Mark Goldberg in number 4. Buy all Rolex. Buy all Rolex. Don't buy anything but Rolex. Buy all Rolex. I think that's a pretty simple one. None of those guys like vintage. I don't think they think that the watch industry is bullshit. So, yeah, I'm going to put Mark Goldberg and Bear Clooney in number 4. Skyson Boys says he is at level 5. All right, it's vintage, bitch. I was talking to Gorilla Time earlier, actually, on Tickers' show, and there's not a ton of vintage guys out there these days around the YouTube space. So, it was pretty. It's pretty cool to bump into somebody else who actually likes vintage. I used to collect a lot of vintage Seikos, vintage Rolex. Don't really collect as much of it these days, although I did buy a vintage Seiko a few months ago. But yeah, like I have a big love for vintage because when you kind of expand your watch collecting, your journey, I guess, when you expand your journey of watch collecting, going through vintage is actually pretty cool because the amount of variation that exists in just in Rolex itself, like Rolex dials. Talk about Submariners, right? Like, you got Explorer dials, and you got Bart Simpson dials, and you got all these, Gilt dial, Maxi dial, like all these different, these different iterations of the, just the Submariner itself is collecting in and of itself. So, really, really cool. I don't think there's anything wrong being at step 5. I don't think this is really a cycle. This is probably just where you are in the journey. I don't really think that there's a start point and an end point. I think, like, you could just end right there at its vintage, bitch, and be totally happy. Billy Jeans is Bear owning a Tag Heuer that costs over $25,000 bring his number down. I mean, look, he has a tag, and Bear wanted to explore. He wanted to explore having a tourbillon. Like, he really did, and I can't really fault him for it because I'd probably have done the same thing. If I wanted a tourbillon, I'd probably, the Tag Heuer ones are the most affordable ones. And interestingly enough, that when Tag Heuer came out with that tourbillon, it caused a stink with the the other high horology brands. Patek Philippe themselves, I think, came out with a statement, kind of like or I think it was Terry Stern who like scoffed at like a tag for putting out a I guess the words of paraphrase is an affordable tourbillon and really making them look bad. So I mean, that's when you kind of get into number 8 of realizing the watch industry is full of shit. He's basically telling them, "Hey, man, we know we can make this cheaper, but don't tell other people. We don't really appreciate you selling that to other people. Like, that doesn't, I don't know. That kind of is really where I can see Bear, enjoying the affordable tourbillon. It's nothing wrong with that, and I'm happy that he got a Tag Heuer one and not something cheaper that potentially may not be nice or as nice, right? Skies and Boy says 6542 is my grill. So 6542 is a GMT Master. That is the original GMT Master Pepsi with a Bakelite, the Bakelite bezel. Let me see if I can find a GMT Master. GMT Rolex 6542 GMT. Well, we don't have to put GMT. It's GMT. All right, pull it up here for you guys from Win Vintage. So as you can see here, Bakelite bezel. Now, an interesting thing for our American viewers is there was actually a recall on this bezel in the United States. Obviously, everyone's familiar with the Radium Girls and all the. This is a Radium watch. This is the original GMT Master. Came in Radium, and the actual Bakelite bezel also was had Radium in it. And there was a recall, obviously, due to health reasons in the United States because of Radium. So that's partly why you don't see a lot of original Bakelite bezels on the 6542. Also, in the fact that they're brittle and they have a lot of them have, I guess, cracked over the years. But definitely one of the reasons was a recall in the United States because of a radium in the Bakelite bezel. Billy Jeans, Redline Sub and Tiffany Stamp is all a vintage man needs. Yeah, man. If you had one of those, like, that would be insane. I owned a Redline Sub myself. I had a 1680 Mark IV dial. It was clean, man. It was kind of an eggshell white patina on the indices, and matching hands. It was all original dial, all original hands, all original loom. The insert was not original. I bought a period correct insert for it. And then the bracelet was a 93. I think it's something like 93150. It's the service bracelet. But when it comes to vintage Rolex, I mean, the dial is everything. They don't really care if you replace the bracelet. They don't. The insert can be period correct, and as long as it's decent or period correct, it's fine. But if that dial is touched, like if you're looking at this watch, if this dial is touched, if it's been reloomed, or it's a service dial, like that kills the value of the watch, right? If this dial was all original, the Bakelite bezel, is all original, and you replace the bracelet, for example, the watch would not lose a lot of money. It's really the dial, then the bezel, then people look at the case, like even the movement, guys. Like as long as the movement's original and there's a few fake parts in there or aftermarket parts, that's no harm, no foul. You can easily, I mean, these movements are interchangeable. There's a lot of them out there, right? Like you can easily make that totally fine. But that dial, you can't get that loom back, and so that's really where a lot of that money goes down the tubes with it. But definitely, I would agree. Redline Sub, Tiffany Stamp would be the way to go. Toyota Mo says let me go back here to the phases for everybody. Toyota Mo says he's a 4.5. He buys all Rolex and he's not necessarily at vintage. And this is kind of why I say that, like, I don't really agree with this journey, or when anyone tries to stereotype or make a journey for everybody, right? I don't believe that that's going to exist. Everybody's buying watches for different reasons. Everyone's tastes in watches evolve over time. Like for me, when I first went to the Patek Philippe Museum, I didn't own a Patek Philippe. I was wearing an AP Royal Oak at the time. And, I started really getting into the brand because, I spent some time at the museum. I started educating myself, found it really interesting, and, really haven't looked back since. Russ says, Ulysse Nardin makes affordable tourbillons. Yeah, look, I mean, I'm sure a lot of folks make it, quite affordable, but, I think that was, I mean, I talked to Bear about it, and that was one of the main reasons was he wanted to experience one. Bear's not a millionaire. He wants to, he's just a normal guy who just, he wants to enjoy his watches. And I personally don't see anything wrong with it. You know, people can call him out for having the cheaper one. I don't really see it that way, but yeah. Frank, no independent face. You know, interesting enough, a lot of these like graphs were done like years ago, and I would agree that like now, you know, when you move from Rolex, not everybody has to go to the Trinity. You don't necessarily have to go to Vacheron. You don't necessarily have to go to, um, Patek or AP. You know, a lot of folks just simply will go the independent route, buy a Gronefeld, buy, you know, Laurent Ferrier, by a FP Journe. You know, people don't necessarily have to go, buy an MB&F. Like, there's a lot of guys who just love the MB&F LM101. Like, that's a great watch. They love it, right? After the Rolex, they can buy that. Nothing wrong with that. I think that's really cool. So yeah, no, I would agree that, in today's day and age, it kind of splits. You know, if you're kind of talking about levels, people talk about, well, you go into the Trinity or you go into the independence. And oftentimes when you think of independence, just to expand on this, Frank V, in this day and age, people try to equate independence as being better than Trinity, right? Or better, whatever than Trinity. I'll give you an example, right? People say FP Journe, the finishing on FP Journe, the finishing. And oftentimes it's just from people who don't know actually what watch finishing is, because FP Journes are, not necessarily finished any better than Patek Philippe's are. They're not, obviously Philippe Dufour pieces, which are exquisitely finished, or Rechepi pieces, which are exquisitely finished, more so than your average Patek Philippe. But when people say FP Journe, I'm like, nah, man, like FP Journe is more about, the technical innovation. I mean, the beautiful movements. You look at the Chronomètre Souverain or the Chronomètre Bleu, like, I mean, beautiful, beautiful movement in that watch, the whole hidden aspect to it, but not necessarily finished better than a Patek. Not really. That's what you're really buying, is that movement in the back where, you've got this cool look. So like, look, independent doesn't always mean better. And honestly, like, when people ask me, like, hey, Tan, what's the best independent to get into if I want to, be in it for the long haul? I say Moser. Like, I think Moser's got the biggest chance at longevity. I'm talking about true independence. I'm not talking about Patek Philippe, because they are an independent, technically, you could say. So, not technically even, they are an independent, but, if we're talking about what, you kind of think about as independence, as newer independence or smaller independence, you could say, Moser probably has the, most longevity, in my opinion. Um, FP Journe could, obviously with certain investment from other companies, it's possible, but, it's hard to predict. And I think that's where there's the risk reward, right? We heard from George Varghese the other day, he got into a lot of these independents early. He could have bought, certain RMs, for 50K that are now selling 4 times the price, right? So, if you want the reward, you are going to have to take the risk. If that's what you love about collecting, nothing wrong with it. And I encourage you to do so. Gangsta says, Beazle talk. Yes, sir. Kevin Kim picked up a 3712 for my vintage piece. That is a Nautilus. For those that are familiar with the 5712, I will pull you guys up a 3712. Pretty cool piece, in my opinion. Let me see if I can find a good photo here. Wow. Not a great photo for you, Kevin, but I'll pull it up anyways. 3712. Everybody can kind of recognize the dial, very similar to the 5712. Uses the 240 movement, which is actually, obviously the better movement. In the I guess the class of you could just say mass-produced Patek movements, you could call them. 240 is obviously the more special movement, in my opinion. You can see that here, just the way the dial layout is. And this dial layout isn't actually necessarily restricted to the Nautilus. And I'll show you kind of an example of another Patek Philippe that has the same dial layout. So it'll be essentially the same movement, but it's just not a 3712 like our good friend Kevin has. So this is the Patek Philippe Neptune. And so you can see here, same dial layout as the 3712, 5712, same movement, different case, right? And it's funny because you've got a real real ugly, you call it lipstick on a pig, just slapping that Patek Philippe name on this. Real lip, and look, that's just me. That's just me being me. Now there are a lot of people who like this watch, but I think this is a real stinker compared to what Kevin was showing us, here on the 3712. Obviously, a nicer piece, but Yeah, man. Skies and boys, tropical dial of 5514. That's a subby. Tropical dials are cool. I do like a tropical dial. So yeah, no, I would agree. Dear Artifact, for those who want the Bakelite bezel look but don't want to go vintage, LaVenture makes a GMT with an awesome plexi bezel with a vintage look. Yeah, man, that's cool. Dear Artifact, actually, about talking about vintage looks. I was wearing my 5320 Perpetual calendar, same one a lot of folks have, the one Kelsowitz just got, Fella, Humble Pine, everybody. And modern watch, vintage feel. And, I really enjoyed it. It's funny because when I looked at the watch, my first thought that comes to my mind is vintage. And so I was like, you know what, that's cool because, I get that vintage vibe and it reflects off that vintage vibe. But I have all of the, comforts of a modern watch, right? Like, I mean, as much as a dress watch could be, I guess you could say, but it's still really, really nice. It's 40 mils, fits great on the wrist. So yeah, I mean, it's cool. And yeah, if you do like the Bakelite look, definitely go for that. We've got, hey, Anthony C, nice to see you. Mr. Z says, I have a Chinese tourbillon, 15 years old and runs like a top. All right. We got one more. No, I think we're up here. We got Mr. GMT, $5 Australian. Where the fike am I on the list, my sexy brother? All right, let's play the game from Mr. GMT. Okay, so look, Mr. GMT is definitely beyond Seiko. He has a Tag Heuer, so he's beyond there. He has more than one decent Swiss, so he's on there. He he definitely doesn't buy all Rolex, so he's beyond that. He has a vintage watch. He has the 238, not the 03. You have the double quick, so that's 238. Definitely a smart ass. I can definitely see GMT as a smart ass. GMT, you're not the self-proclaimed vintage expert yet, so you're gonna be stuck at number 6, my bro. The being a smart ass, which is not a bad place to be because Mookie also put himself in the number 6. Gangsta says you're still on the wait list. Gary's asking Kevin Kim, is the 3712 the same size as the 5212? I think it's actually 40 mils on the 3712. It could be wrong. Not 100% sure. I'm going to say, yeah, okay, so he says 1 mil smaller. So it is 40 mils. Honestly, Kevin, that's not going to matter. It's like if it was the mid size or something, then, even then, honestly, like, so some of these watches are too big for some guys, and just buy, be happy with the watch that fits. There you go, Russ. Owned a 5085 for a while too. Blink. Look, Russ, you never owned the 5320. So I don't know, Russ. I don't know. Well, to each their own, I guess. Personal taste. All right, let's keep going here. Frank V. Neptune watch. Only the watch reporter would love. Yes, I would definitely see the watch reporter loving the Neptune. All right, so Chili Badger says I am on number 10.5 between Seiko and Dead. And look, we want our Chili Badger to stick around. He's definitely been around a long time. Remembers our good friend Blue Shirt Buddha. For those that don't know, I actually was the guy who encouraged Blue Shirt to go on the streams with Archie. He was, always a super fan. That guy was one of the, the big super fans of the Archieverse, like a Tom Burnett. And Tom obviously knows Blue Shirt as well, new Blue Shirt. And yeah, just a guy, salt of the earth guy who just loved the Archieverse, loved it more than I do, I think. And Archie was really, he loved talking to Archie, and I had to, man, I had to encourage him to go on because it was just, Blue Shirt would have, I had to see him on with Archie, just being such a big fan. Happy Meal says, I'm happy being on. Curly's definitely just at 1. Curly's stuck on 1, and he'll end there at 1. So Curly's gonna jump literally from 1 to 11. So I don't disagree with that. Where's original OC and Ocean on the list? All right, let's go through original OC. So he's definitely past a Seiko, Tag Heuer, only one decent Swiss, buying all Rolex. He has a vintage watch. He has 2 of them. He has the King, 2 of them that I know. He has the King Midas and the Texan. Definitely a smart ass. He's gonna stop there, man. He doesn't call himself a self-proclaimed vintage. I call myself a self-proclaimed vintage expert. Gorilla Time calls himself a self-proclaimed vintage expert. Just fucking with you there, Gorilla Time. Yeah, I don't see OC calling himself a self-proclaimed vintage expert. So he's gonna stop at smartass. And yeah, you know what? All right, let's go to Ocean O'Malley. It's a tough one, man, because I don't think he has any vintage, at least not that I know of. He probably has had vintage, so we can probably give him that bypass. It's vintage bitch, and he bought some vintage, and he's a smart ass, so he's gonna get stuck there. He's not a self-proclaimed vintage expert. Actually, you know what? He probably is. I'll pass him through 7. He probably thinks he's a self-proclaimed vintage expert. So yeah, we're gonna pass him through 7. OC definitely doesn't pass through 7. He doesn't call himself that. Realizing the watch industry is full of shit is definitely um, I think he's at 8, actually. I think he's at 8. I don't think he's in the bin there. He wants to be at 9. He thinks he's at 9 in the bin. Like the bin there category is like Archie, is like Clyde. Those guys have been there. The old dogs that are just they're kind of done with collecting. They just want to be they just want to be put out to pasture with like one watch. So those guys are in the bin there, almost at the number 10. But when I think of O'Sheen, I'm gonna go number 8. Realizing the watch industry is full of shit. Big Tony says he thinks he's at 6, being a smartass. Tony, I went past 6 with O'Sheen because I think that in his mind he probably is a self-proclaimed vintage expert, and I'm sure that if anybody asked him, he'd probably say he is. So yeah, to your artifact, I know that he had purchased previous watches in the past that are vintage, but I think that he would definitely say that he knows a lot about vintage. So I don't know. So I'm going to put him past 7 into 8, being a watch industry. Realizing watch industry is full of shit. Yep. OC was a 6. Yeah. Because OC really hasn't been a self-proclaimed vintage expert. He has vintage. He has 2 watches that I know of that are vintage. Frank V. Archie actually is starting to open up to Seiko's. This curve is facts. Yeah. You know what? That is very interesting. Archie hated Seiko's. He's hated Seiko's for a while. He put up a video years ago, really simping Seiko's because he was paid to do it. Hated Seiko's after that. Finally probably handled a Grand Seiko, or one of his punters had Grand Seiko that he respected. Then he completely flip-flops. Archie 180s, start appreciating Grand Seiko. But honestly, that's the same, frankly, for like on a lot of independent. He hated FP Journe, he hated Lange, he hated Lange's not independent anymore, but he hated Lange, hated FP Journe, hated MB&F. Archie's, anything that he doesn't know, he hates. Right? He's afraid of. He's afraid of venturing out because you know what? He's just old and tired, right? He's done it for a long time. He's been there, done that. Number 9. Collector Invest says he is a 12 and an investor. All right, Nathan, much respect to you. Mr. Zoso saying the word expert way too much here. Exactly. There's no experts here, guys. It's just a bunch of dumbasses talking watches. Held says Archie was appreciating that vintage Timex from yesterday. Yeah, no, look, Archie really, those are the watches he actually knows. If you guys, think pulling up like monochrome, for Archie or Hodinkee or anything, lately is something he cares about. Nah, he doesn't really give a shit about that. But you talk to him about like certain watches, like the Cartier Panthère or the Cartier Cougar, or watches that he really, really likes from the past. Man, he will be so engaged. He will tell you the drum. He will, keep going on and on and on. So, yeah, look, like Archie, I would say, he definitely is a vintage guy. He just it takes a lot to get it out of him. He doesn't want to buy vintage anymore, but that's really like where his where he really was most interested in. At the time that he was the most interested in watches was around that vintage time. So yeah, like he's really like that type of a collector. But yeah, Mr. Joseph is dumbass expert. Yeah, we're all dumbasses. I'm a dumbass. It's all good, man. If Archie does a road trip with Heinrich, he will go 10 and 1/2. Yeah, maybe. All right, guys. If you guys want to play along here, if you guys want me to, rank any more people from the Archie verse, from the Colony, from the Tim verse, from the O'Sheen verse, let me know. Drop them in the chat. I will go back to this image, but I do have a couple of other pieces to go through. Flipping back to my favorite topic, Patek Philippe. I wanted to show you guys this cool watch. So this is a 3940 perpetual calendar. So you've heard, a lot of us have heard Archie complaining about watch reporters 3940. It's too small, it's too old, it's too this, it's too that. Some of it he's got right, some of it he's got wrong. This is really, I think Watch Reporter has it correct here. This is an icon to the brand. The president of the brand, Philippe Stern, famously wore a 3940, allegedly never serviced it, allegedly. But yeah, no, it was in production for like 20 years. Like this is an iconic Patek Philippe watch. Now, why am I showing you guys this one? This is actually a Michael Ovitz. For those that don't know who Michael Ovitz is, big time Patek collector. He is basically a VIP, Patek collector, and he was a former head of Disney. So this is one of his pieces, and it was a commission piece. And the interesting thing about this watch, when you look at the actual details, is circa 2014. Now this watch was out of production, I think in like 2000. I think it went out of production in something like 2004 or something like that. Um, yeah, I think it was like Russ, you can correct me if I'm wrong, or Watch Reporter. You can correct me if I'm wrong. I think the production ended on the 3940 in something like 2004, close to that. So this watch was commissioned in 2014. So that's almost 10 years ish, call it, after production ended. So this guy had so much clout with the brand that he basically said, I want one of those watches, that's been discontinued for 10 years. I want you to just remake it for me, in my own custom layout, which is actually, I can walk you guys through it. Pretty custom. He's got Breguet numerals, not very common on 3940s. You've got the Michael Ovitz. He's got his insignia here on the dial. You have a very interesting watch in terms of differences. You've got lume on the hands. The 3940s didn't have loomed hands, for example. So beautiful piece. This is in they're saying it's in white gold. It's the 3940G, so that's definitely white gold with obviously a salmon dial, or they call it a pink dial. But definitely, this is basically a guy who went to Patek Philippe. He's got so much clout. He says, I just want you to make me a watch that doesn't exist, that hasn't existed for 10 years. I want it to be completely custom. I want lume on I need lume because, who the hell has a watch these days without lume? And I want Breguet numerals. And look, Patek Philippe, they put Breguet numerals only on watches that they consider, to them at least, special. And so, for him to ask for it is another, big ask. And then obviously salmon dial, right? Just ask on ask plus his initials on the dial. Yep, Watch Reporter, I zoomed in on it earlier. So yeah, it definitely, if Watch Reporter has a video on Michael Ovitz, check it out. Really, really cool piece. But he's a big collector, big time collector with Patek Philippe, and that kind of brings me to the question around, if that were you, right? And it doesn't have to be Patek itself. Let's say it was Rolex, right? And if that was you, which Rolex would you commission or tell Rolex to bring back and say, you know what, I know that you haven't made this watch in about 40 years, but I spent so much damn money with you that I want it, and I want it like this. You know what I mean? That's the kind of guy this is. So, for me at least, like a custom 3940. I don't know, Watch Report. I don't even know if I would do a 3940. I love the 3940. Don't get me wrong, but I mean, you've got other, perpetual calendar chronographs, like the Clapton perpetual calendar chronograph, or other, types of watches that, are definitely, heavier hitters, 2523 world time, cloisonné dial, or blue enamel dial. Like there's a lot of different pieces. And really, if the world's your oyster in that sense with the brand of, hey, for whatever, for the right price, we will remake you or make you any watch that you want. What would it be? So let's kind of hear. So we got Mr. Zosu who says he would want a Le Mans in steel. Yeah, I mean, a Le Mans in steel custom for Mr. Zosu. That's his choice. I don't know, Mr. Z. I think I would. By the way, this one is not 3940. Well, I mean, it's listed as a 3940 right here, buddy. I don't know. It's listed as a 3940. I think there was two 3940s. Launched about 3940. Yep. Launched reference, sister reference. Yeah, it's not the perpetual counter chronograph. It's 3940. I don't know. I think there was two, by the way, Watch Reporter. I don't think there was just one. There was another one with a chocolate dial, I think it was. I think that's the one you're also referring to. Also has loomed hands as well. But I'll check out your video. But yeah, back to like what watch would I get? I don't know, Zoe. So I don't know if I'd go with the Le Mans Steel. I would go with, let's see, Rolex. Oh yeah, I know exactly what I would get. And yeah, let me see here if I can pull one up. Need to find a good one here. Yeah. Let's see if I can get you a good picture of one because there's one here that's a decent enough photo, but I'll just pull this one up. It doesn't matter. You guys know what I mean with the bracelet, so I'd obviously get this on a bracelet. I would go with the Rolex Submariner 6538. Oh, it's a 55. No, it's the wrong one here. 6538 is what I'm looking for. 6538. I'm gonna find a good 6538. So it's not just a certain 6538. It is a different 6538 that you guys will recognize as, if I can find a fucking good picture of one. Here we go. Nope, not working. All right, I'm just gonna pull up a shitty photo then. Might as well. All right, here we go. That should be working here for you guys. 6538. Not a great photo, guys. Sorry, I was looking for something decent because this is a pretty rare watch. A Gorilla Time, if you're listening, definitely you can hop on and show yours. Rolex 6538. That is a Submariner Big Crown, also known as the Doctor No. Obviously famous from the James Bond movies. But this is one with an Explorer dial. So you got the 369 Explorer dial. It's got a big crown. Supposed to have a red triangle similar to the Tunas. But yeah, I'd probably be asking for. I think Archie even said the same thing: a no crown guard Submariner. I don't know if he'd go big crown or small crown. I'm gonna go big crown. This is what I would want, for them to remake this. And everyone says, "Why don't you just buy a Tudor?" Well, I don't want a Tudor. I want a Rolex. So 37 mils on this watch, guys. Not for everybody, but pretty cool for me. I would be asking Rolex to commission this, make it new, make it make it modernized a bit, but remake this one for me. Curly can't stop without talking about the Bumblebee. Blah, blah, blah. I don't know what the Bumblebee is there, Mo, but you can enlighten us. Frank V says Rolex Cellini 6062. All right, let's look it up. 6062. Oh, yeah, I know this one. Very similar to the Bao Dai, watch. I'll pull it up from Jake Ehrlich's magazine. He's a friend of the channel. Let me, and you know what's cool? And before I show the watch, Disarez actually asked this question. He said, "Do you know any brand that has the moon phase with is an actual face?" And I was like, Rolex actually does that or did that. They used to put a face on their moon phase. But I'll pull up the 6062 once I get into here we go. So as you can see here, and actually this is one of my favorite layouts, by the way. Frank V is, this is on a gold Jubilee, beautiful watch, like just a stunning piece. And again, you can see here with the moon phase has a little face on the moon, pretty cool. I do want to. Okay, yep, this is also a good one. The Albino Daytona 6263. I could pull that up here. Albino Daytona 6263. And this is the Albino Daytona. And look, there's a few albino dials. Like there's an albino, for example, Explorer, which is pretty famous. Got a white dial on the Explorer, pretty cool. But this is an albino Daytona. It's also a nice JLC. If possible, can you pull up the date with that Watch Collectors UK David Khalil had on Instagram? Yeah, I can try. I don't really have those guys on my Instagram or on Instagram. I don't even know if my Instagram account's on here. Watch Collectors UK. Let's see here. Watch Collectors UK. I don't know, Gary, if it's. No, this one says March. April. I don't know if it's. Is Gary? Is it in a story or I don't know. Like, I mean, I'll pull up their page here. Let me know if I'm on the wrong. Let me know if I'm on the wrong page here. But like, I'm just looking at pin photos, pin photos, pin photos. These ones are pinned, and I think this one is a day ago. So I don't know. Is it this one here, Gary? You're talking about? Let me know in the chat, Gary, if this is the one you were talking about. See, it's the latest one I could see. I'm assuming this is David Khalil's arm, but not sure. Looks like Mother of Pearl. Is it mother of pearl? I don't know. It's masterpiece, a true definition of statement. Stunning baguette. Yeah, okay, I know it's got baguettes in it. Watch is not famed for the heart. It's a long freaking post, bro. Yeah, I don't know. Can't really tell if that's what's on that dial. This is pearl. Oh, okay. You'll see the no screws in the back. Rolex beside original diamond set. Oyster mount. Okay, pearl master. Okay, that makes sense. Cool. All right. Yes, it is. All right, Gary. There it is. The date 8 for you. Um, yeah, just and I'm gonna show you guys something. I don't know if you guys ever knew that Rolex made a world time, but they did. They did make a world time. Wasn't in a wristwatch. It was in a pocket watch actually. And I'm gonna show you guys the Rolex day world time. Here you go. This is the Rolex world time. So I'm not fibbing. I'm not lying to you guys. Rolex chronomètre right there. This is definitely a Rolex. You can see the crown. We got Apes, £3 super sticker. Thank you, Apes. Appreciate it, bro. Rolex world time. Pretty not common, by the way, guys. And if anybody, dear artifact, by the way, if you see this from afar and you saw this as a pocket watch, I don't know if Rolex would come to mind. I think if you saw this from afar and it's really hard to see the crown here. If you showed this, just from afar to anybody, or you blanked out the brand, most people would say Patek Philippe because it looks very similar to Patek Philippe. Well, it is actually very similar to Patek Philippe because Louis Coutier, who invented the world time mechanism, sold it not only to Patek Philippe but also to other people. And you got Rolex here that bought have their own world time as well. So pretty cool to see. Not your typical Rolex, but I'm gonna look at actually in a second here. I'm going to look at the cities on the dial because I always find I'm with you, Patel, on the 37mm Explorer dial sub, but if not that, I'd like to see an Air King super precision 5500, much like Ryan Gosling owns. Yeah, that'd be a cool one too, man. Air King's an interesting one. Some people love it, some people hate it. When I started collecting, the Air Kings were very small. I think they were something like 34 mils. They were small, man. They're not the Air Kings that people think of today. And it was very much at the time when they needed to really really line because the Air King was, and everybody kind of you'd walk into the AD and the Air King was the one that was cheap. But I remember even talking to my SA at the time and he was like, dude, you don't want a 34 mil watch. You want a proper size. So yeah. All right. So what was I talking about here? I was talking about world times with Rolex. Yeah. Again, from afar, it's really kind of, it's hard to tell whether this is, a Patek or a, or a Rolex. But yeah, I want to look at the cities. That's what I was going to do. So this always interests me. Dear Artifact, I know you're also Canadian. Back in the day when Canada had a little bit more influence in the world, we're talking probably in the 40s, around that time, 30s, 40s. Canada was different on the international stage than they are today. But Montreal used to be on the dial, for the Eastern time zone. It used to be shared with New York. That was the influence of Canada. I'm a little cheesed that obviously, New York just supersedes any Canadian city. Now, and it's not because I like New York. I love New York, and New York is obviously the powerhouse in that time zone. But, you've got, American city, a Mexican city, American. You got enough North American cities except for Canadian ones. So I'm going to vent a little bit about that a day after Canada Day. But, again, you can see here San Francisco. That's not always on world times. You see often Los Angeles, El Angeles. I think the El Angeles really pisses OC off, being from California. And some world times actually just say California on them. The entire state was the time zone at the time. Yeah, Caliber YQG. Montreal on the world timer, dude. It was a thing. And I'm a little cheesed that it's not there anymore. So one of the reasons that really kept me away from world times. Yes, when Montreal was still seen as a fashion capital of the world. Yeah, in Canadian history, I mean, Montreal was always, for a long time, was seen as kind of it wasn't really Toronto. I think it was after a lot of the separatist stuff that was happening in Quebec that it really shifted, I think, that power to Toronto as opposed to Montreal. For a long time, Montreal was really the I didn't have people have to say cultural capital, but it was definitely a very major city, and representative of the country. Yeah, Mr. I love it. So you can see here, even the Klondike, right? You don't see Klondike on those on dials usually these days. London, Paris, you see. Um, Here's an interesting one. This kind of dates us at a different time when Paris was on a different time zone than Berlin and Rome, for example. So think about that. London and Paris now are on separate time zones. London is an hour behind Paris. Paris, Berlin, and Rome are all in the same time zone. Um, so and I think there's some history around like the war and Germany being Germany was actually in a completely different time zone, I think, than continental Europe itself. I think even pre this, and I think it was kind of around like World War One era where Germany shifted into a similar time zone to like Rome and other European cities. But a lot of history behind these guys. This is why, when I said, at the start of the show, why world times really intrigued me in my journey, it was about this kind of stuff. It was around like, when you get past like, oh my God, I have to have every single hype Rolex or every single hype Patek. Once you've bought yourself a 5711 steel, you've achieved all those, you call it achievement, whatever, right? Like once I've gotten past all that in the curve of the journey, right? Like to me, I was like, I'm just gonna look for shit that interests me. And this was very interesting to me. I'm a history buff. I like history. So um here's another piece. For those that don't know, in India, at this time, it was the British Raj. So India was not an independent country; it was under the British rule, and Calcutta was the capital of the British Raj in India. There was two time zones in India at the time. Vimal, if you're listening, shout out to you because you were there when we called Higgy out on Bombay's time zone. But at one time, Bombay had a time zone, an hour, different time zone than Calcutta. So in today's world, India only has one time zone for the entire country, and it's a half-hour time zone. So when you see on a world time these days, you usually see Karachi. After Dubai, you'll see Karachi, and then you'll see Dhaka. Okay, Karachi's in Pakistan, Dhaka's in Bangladesh. In the middle of those two countries is India, but it's a half-hour time zone, so therefore there is no Indian city. And I know that Vimal, said, "Hey, the influence of it." I'm like, "Yeah, man, I know I'm Indian, dude. Like, I'm with you. I want an Indian city on the dial." But that's why, because India is in a half-hour time zone. Yep, Karachi is on the Karachi would be on the dial. So still pretty interesting that at the time that's why Calcutta and Bombay were there, and even on separate things. I don't know if this is a French style because you got Peking here written with an accent aigu, which is French. So Singapore is probably just written like that because it's in French. Tokyo written with an I. I don't know if that's the French way of writing it. Not 100% sure. You got Sydney. You got Fiji. You got Samoa. You got a couple of normal ones. But always is cool for me to kind of see, on these watches, just like different cities, because world times to me are time capsules like that. And, let's play the game here. Let's I'll pull up, the famous 2523, probably it is one of the most expensive Patek Philippe world times. Extremely rare. Sells for millions of dollars. Let me pull up this one here, 2523. Mr. Zoso, if you haven't noticed, the lugs on your 5230, hopefully I'm sharing this. I am. The lugs on your 5230, are actually inspired by this watch, the 2523. If you look at, the previous model, I'll show you the 5130 that Archie has here on the screen, and you'll notice in the 5130 as well as in the previous gen model, the 5110, it's really kind of integrated Calatrava style lugs. Okay, but when you look at your watch, or the one that Jamie has and I have and whatnot, it's more, the lugs flare out a lot more. Give me a little bit of kind of Corne de Vache type vibes, more so on this because it's a lot more pointy. But really, to me, Mr. Zoso, the lugs really make this watch. This watch is actually pretty cool. It fits differently because of the way the lugs are constructed. So this is a 2523. I'm going to show you guys the cities here on the dial. So this is a Patek Philippe. This is not a Rolex. So let's go back to where we started. Where am I here in the world? All right, so back here, not Father Artifact, Dear Artifact. You got New York and Montreal on the dial again. We've got Buenos Aires and Rio de Janeiro here different. You have Alaska You have the Klondike here, and remember I was talking about that one had San Francisco and some of El Angeles. This one actually has California on the dial for the city. Then you go London, Paris, Algiers, all in the same time zone. You've got Oslo, Geneva, and Rome. Not even Berlin on the dial here. Oslo, which is in Finland. Norway. Oslo, Norway. You got Geneva. You've got Rome. You got Moscow. You've got Moscow. You've got a bunch of different cities here. I'm just trying to have a look. Baghdad. Aiden's this one's not very common on the dial. It's a Middle Eastern country. It's in a Middle Eastern country. I don't know if it's Yemen. I forget, but I think it's around there. Again, you got the Bombay, Calcutta, as I described. You got now Adelaide. This is an interesting one. Now you got an Australian city in there on the same dial as Tokyo. Adelaide there with Tokyo. So you've got one Australian city. So you're seeing a little bit more influence, I guess, from Australia. You got Sydney here as well. You got Auckland. You got the Marshall Islands. You got Fiji. And it kind of comes full circle. But one of the most beautiful Patek Philippe world times ever made. This is a cloisonné dial. You can see the gold cloisons that really shape the continent, and then it's filled with enamel to fill in really the continent, the oceans, and all that jazz. So really, really cool piece. But just want to give some Zoso a bit of history on his watch, that the lugs of the 5230 were based on this 2523. All right, maybe we can go back to the old chart, here, guys, of collecting. I'm gonna drop the link here for everybody if you guys want to hop in, join me for the talk. I'll pin the link because Archie should be joining hopefully in 30 minutes. Doesn't just leave me hanging, assuming that someone else is on the show running the show here. Let me just get this pin for everybody. So if you do want to join and hop on and talk, more than happy to have you guys. I'm just going to close a few tabs because my tabs are just open and up, and I have too many of them open here, guys. All right, we got Super Chat, £2 Thomas Burnett, 7200R, Rose Gold. All right, is this Patek ripping a Breguet Classique? Patek 7200R, Rose Gold. All right, ladies watch. All right. I mean, I don't think so. It's not an enamel dial. It's got Breguet numerals, obviously. It's grain dial. It's kind of plain. I mean, the hands I could kind of see maybe a Breguet Classique would have palm hands, though. It would have Breguet hands, Breguet numerals, right? Patek Philippe doesn't often do the palm hands or the Breguet hands with the Breguet numerals. They'll usually do Breguet numerals and different hand set, for example. What's going on, Clivers?
Not much. The host has enabled local recordings.
Oh, I don't even know. I don't know what that's. I just clicked live. I just clicked go live. 7200R Clive. So he's asking, does this Patek Philippe rip off a Breguet Classic? I was saying the hands don't really make sense. I would assume it'd be Breguet hands. Well, what do you think?
Well, yeah, it's Breguet numbers, but who doesn't do Breguet numbers?
Exactly. I get where Thomas is coming from. It does have the look, but I think Breguet would have a little bit more Breguet DNA. And honestly, Thomas, I probably would have expected an enamel dial, for example, from a Classique, as opposed to either a lacquer dial on this one or what have you. But still cool watch. I mean, very, 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 I think very classy. I love Breguet numerals on the pieces. Clyde, you did inspire me to do the phases of watch collecting here. All right, I put you in the number 9 category. Am I right or wrong?
Somewhere between 8 and 9.
All right. Where would you put Archie? I put him at 9 as well. I put you and him in the same boat.
I'd say 9.5.
9.5.
Yeah.
You think he's really? Yeah, but is he really going to Seiko though? I think what this is saying is
I think he'll be heading there.
Yeah, I think he's kind of done with his collecting. I think he's completely. Yeah, I don't think he's going to be looking for or seeking more than what he has in the world time. I think he's totally fine with. I think that's really he's hit his limit. I think from Patek Philippe. I think he's not really going to go past the world time right now. and I think he'll consolidate. But I don't know, man. Unless something really catastrophic happens, I don't really see him getting rid of it. I think he'd want to keep that one for life. But I don't know. But I was talking about earlier, Clyde, around like, what we were talking about on the phone was the cycle, right? You start with Rolex or, and then you go into vintage and then you go independent or you go high horology and you come back to Rolex and you just are like done with it, right?
You start with it because of the hype or because of the branding, and then you end up with it just on the strength of the watches.
Do you mind me asking you though, like obviously your story started in the Archieverse, not with a hype watch, and I'm sure that wasn't the start of your watch collecting necessarily, but when you say the hype stuff, because I've only known you when you haven't really been chasing hype. You had a few hype watches, but like you weren't ever really chasing it.
I've had a few GMTs. I've had a number of subs, so I wouldn't say that. Not super hyped pieces like a Nautilus. I did have a Aquanaut though.
You did.
I've had the Holy Trinity before.
Yeah, you had the Overseas. You had an AP Royal Oak Offshore. You had what else? You had the Aquanaut. Yep. Hey Nathan, how you doing?
How are you doing?
I'm good, man. Are you going to show that? Hopefully, you're going to wait till Archie comes to show the watch you were going to show earlier.
Yeah.
He should only be on in about maybe about 20 minutes, I'd say. But we're just kind of talking like phases of watch collecting, Nathan, and like Clyde, I'm of the mentality that like there really isn't a necessary like a path or a journey for everybody, right? I think everybody's kind of different.
So many different phases.
Nathan, what about you? What about you? Like, what kind of phases are you into? What kind of watches do you like to go? And I know you had your Casio you were talking about earlier. What about you? What do you like?
I'm more like interested in any kind of watch, as long as I don't pay full price for it.
Nothing wrong with that. Honestly, nothing wrong with that. And actually,
just wait patiently, and it might drop, and then you buy. That's how I feel.
Nathan, you're on the panel with a guy known as the Rancher, and he used to do the Wrangler. I think he's called the Wrangler of the Week. So we would submit all of the deals we made of watches. Who got the best deal, that week? And Clyde used to publish it, the Wrangler of the Week. I don't think I ever won one of those.
Also known as WoW.
Yeah, the WoW. Yeah, I don't remember ever winning one of those.
Let me put the link on the thing, so whenever Archie comes, I'll.
Oh yeah, the link's there. Yeah, Collector Invest. The link's there. So if you want to just click it whenever you want, and when Archie hops on, feel free. You're obviously welcome here. So, yeah, because I know you wanted to show him. It was a Citizen, I think you were talking about earlier. You wanted to show him.
No, I wanted to show him this watch that is made in China, but it is actually a decent watch. It looks like something unusual that other watchmakers didn't make.
Okay, cool. Clyde, you've owned some seagulls, right? Like some seagull movements, I think, in some of your pieces, if not seagull.
I still have one. I've got an Aramar Long Beach chronograph, which uses the seagull movement.
Man, I own two seagulls. I got them from a very reputable. I'm not going to name them because people will know who they are. I bought two seagulls. This was years ago, and they both broke. One of them was replaced, and then after the second one broke, I said, "Fuck it, I don't give a shit about like buying more of these." But like everybody else was like perfect. They never have had any issues. People rave over them. Me, like fucking both of them broke, and it was I don't know, man. I had bad luck, I guess. Yeah, a flock of seagulls. Yeah, you definitely had a flock of seagulls, Clyde. But yeah, Journey, Clyde, and I think Nathan had it spot on. Like, you can just go in so many different directions. I know people who literally just collect divers. I know people who collect just Rolex Submariners. So to tell people like, yeah, like you have to buy like a Patek.
I never buy into the hype.
You should. Go ahead. Go ahead, Nathan.
I never buy into the hype of the watch. I always buy whenever they're not been hype. That's more of a safe move, because if you buy in the hype, you lose more money whenever it crashes.
Yeah, you don't want to be buying at the high of the hype at all. you know, and it was a great story, like I talked about earlier, about George Varkes was on the panel a few days ago, and he talked about, you know, buying years ago, like when I bought my Nautilus, you know, it was trading at like 20, it was trading over retail. Retail was like 24 something, and it was trading at like 26, right? That was over retail at the time. And I was like, oh my God, you're paying over retail. But there have been watches back then that were selling over retail, and the Daytona was one of them too. The Daytona was like in recent times, at least, was not. It was always somewhat hyped. It was always difficult to get in recent times, you know. But for a long period of time, I mean, the Daytonas weren't popular, and you could buy them for cheap. But you know,
Right.
it's the case. LV, I'll drop my IG here. It is at Hura10, and we do have a special guest joining us here in a second. But this is my IG at Hura.10. If you want to reach out to me, talk to me. And we've got a celebrity on the show. What's going on, Archie Luxury? How are you today?
Hey, it's fantastic to be here. I had a fall last night. I was drinking wine and I fell over. Luckily, I didn't damage the gold breguet. The hockey puck remains intact.
I think your
Have you ever done that? Gone out?
I think your phone's like damaged because your video is terrible.
My video's terrible. Hey, I fell over yesterday, and
Well, first of all, are you okay? Are you okay? Are you okay? Is the first question.
I'm perfectly okay. I just fell over, but the thing is, you know, when you fall over, the first thing you worry about is, have you fucked up your watch?
I was surprised you're not wearing the Tag Heuer. Of course, I have. I was surprised you weren't wearing the Tag Heuer link.
Yeah, I have.
Oh, Clyde, you didn't know he has the tag. Show him the Tag Heuer. Show him the link. Show him the link. The two-tone link.
Yes, the two-tone. It's. I'll go and get it.
Go get it.
By the way,
yes.
I like these new I've got.
And I gotta show.
Very chic, Archie. Very chic. Collector Invest. I spent a few days with Archie at the Bro House in London, and he was pantless pretty much the whole time. So not something I haven't seen before. Check the comms.
When is Archie? I'm thinking about something. Archie, when is Archie coming to Chicago?
Hey,
we gotta get to Chicago. Yeah.
I can't click on the link somehow.
You want me to put up your link there, Nathan?
Yeah, after he shows his.
Okay, yeah, I got you. I'll pull it up. So, Clyde, this is the Tag Heuer link two-tone. This is the 80s or 90s special, maybe 90s special.
90s. There you go.
All right.
Focus. Look.
That's so shit. That's so bad. That's the watch you should have been wearing when you fell on your ass.
Yeah.
No. Like that's. You know the debate last week?
Yep.
That is the debate in horological terms.
Yes. Archie, our good friend Collector Invest on the panel, wanted me to show you this watch. I'm going to pull it up here for you. All right, Collector Invest, what do you want to let us know about this piece?
I kind of looked at it, and I looked at my little hat here. Let me show you what.
I got to be honest with you. Some of the watches that Hoff was showing yesterday, I don't think this is much different to some of the watches Hoff was showing.
I think it was kind of interesting look to it, doesn't it? What do you think, guys?
Archie, tell us the drum. Is this a buy for our good friend Collector Investor, or should he save up his coin?
How can you go wrong with $30? 30. That's what I pay Luxy, you know.
Yeah, for every show, you could get him a creative honeycomb automatic men's skeleton mechanical watch.
Actually, I pay him in Aussie dollars.
As we know, honeycomb's good.
It's something different that the other watchmakers never have.
Honestly, Collector Invest, I would say go for it. It's $30. You like it. Like you said, it matches the hat. Yeah. I think you dig.
The theme of the little pin on my hat.
There you go. Hey man, it looks. Oh, let me. You want me to
I
show
love
you
it.
on?
Go for it.
Go for it. Go
Go
for it.
for it. Go for
Alright.
it. I think that's you've got
Archie.
Tan's approval.
You got my approval. You got Archie's approval. You got everyone's approval. Archie, we were talking. Everybody in the chat was having a lot of fun on this graph. This is what a lot of watch collectors, you could say, perpetuates around. Says the phases of watch collecting. How does the journey start? So you start with Seiko. You buy a Tag Heuer, a bunch of shit. Buy one decent watch. You go crazy with Rolex. And all this stuff. Now, I have put you at stage number 9. You and Clyde both. Where would you put yourself on this graph?
Probably 9.5.
See?
Clyde knows better than I do, man. Clyde said 9.5 as well. Yep. I put Baron Goldberg at number 4, Arch. Is that accurate or not?
Yeah, buy all Rolex.
Now OC, I stopped OC at 6 because OC is not a self-proclaimed vintage expert. He does have vintage because he has the Texan and he has the King Midas, and he's at number 6 being a smartass. But I don't think he's become a self-proclaimed vintage expert. So OC, I don't know, Archie. I think OC stops at a number 6 there.
Yes. It's
all right. Give me JJ, Archie. Where's JJ on this list? Where's he at?
Oh, JJ.
Start from the bottom. He doesn't have a shitter.
7.5, I would say. JJ 7.5.
So you put him as a self-proclaimed vintage expert. I don't think JJ ever claims to be a vintage. No. I think JJ is not a self-proclaimed vintage expert.
I'd say.
Go ahead, Clyde.
I'd say number 4.5, but instead of buy all Rolex, it'd be buy all hype.
Yes.
JJ's a tough one, man.
Yeah.
Because I just have to think of any vintage watch JJ's on. I think he has, so I'm going to put him at 6. He's in the smartass phase. He's not a self-proclaimed expert yet. He hasn't gotten that far. So JJ, you're a 6 for me. You're a lot higher than those guys gave you. Archie, let's pick somebody else here. Who
JJ.
Oh, we already picked JJ. We already picked JJ.
Yeah.
How about?
Yeah, I gotta tell you.
How about Tim?
What about Kesslowitz?
Well, let's start with Tim first, and then we'll do Kesslowitz. Let's go Tim Wrong first.
Tim Wrong. I think Tim Wrong is number 7, isn't he?
I would put him at 4, man. Like I know he has some other watches besides Rolex, but like I think deep down in his heart he would just buy Rolex. You know, if it was presented to him, he'd just buy Rolex. So I'd keep him probably at 4 for me.
Marcelo.
No, we gotta do Kesslowitz now. You want to do Kesslowitz? Clyde, what do you think of Kesslowitz? And collector investor, definitely chime in if you want.
See, I don't know. See, I don't. That Archie says. I know what Archie says, but I think Archie really wants him at 11.
11 as well.
I reckon Kesslowitz really he's realized with the CQ the watch industry is so full of shit. He realizes the wait list games. He's played it. He just feels like a played sucker.
So would you? But does he not know vintage though? He hasn't really gone the vintage route yet, has he? So
he feels like a lady boy as Archie is on the airplane leaving.
Marcelo's easy, Archie. Marcelo's number 4, man. By all. No, you know what? That's not right. He has vintage. You know, he definitely thinks he's an expert in everything. I think he's number 7. I think Marcelo thinks he's an expert, so he's number 7.
Now, guys, if you want to join us in the live stream chat, you know, the best way to get our attention was with the super chat.
Yeah, by the way, Archie, we did have a few super chats at the start, so I'll run them through. You can read them here for everybody.
Yeah.
Guys, if the super chats don't start happening, he's going to start standing up and turning around.
Hold on, I'm going to have him read the
very slowly.
All right, Archie, why don't you read these super chats, and then we can get back to the stream.
Super chats, we got Rich Mitch. You touched me. That's Rich Mitch. We've got Happy Meal. That's our good friend Curly. Happy Meal. $100. Patek and Pussy. I eat one and look at the other. Thanks for what you do in the Archie verse, Tan. Boycotts are for pussies. I thought the boycotts are over, aren't they?
They're over, baby. The super chats are flowing in.
Right on.
We got Mr. GMT, Mr. Sexy, $5. Where the fuck am I on the list, my sexy brother? See, I reckon Mr. GMT, he'd be a 7.5.
Nah, he's a 6 for me. He's not a self-proclaimed expert. He's 6. He's still in the smart-ass category, bro.
We got Apes, our good friend Apes, £3 super sticker, and Thomas Burnett, £2, 7200R. Is this Patek ripping a reggae classic? This is a ladies Calatrava. This has been out for a while, hasn't it, Tan? How long has this been out for?
I don't look at ladies' watches. I don't fucking
Ladies
know.
watches. Yep, it looks beautiful. Breguet numerals. It's still gorgeous. It's still gorgeous. Curly is sharing his 40% back to you. You betcha he is. You betcha. You betcha.
All right, AC3. I just want to get you fired up here. I got to run. I'm going to go in the
What
chat.
phase is Mike the Snake at?
Okay, you know what? I'll do. Let me do Mike the Snake here before I go because I gotta run here in a second to grab some dinner. All right, Mike the Snake. We're doing. What phase in the watch journey are you? All right, so Mike, before you answer, I'm gonna start first. Then Archie, Collector Invest, and then Rancher. Then Mike can answer. All right, so Mike the Snake. Gone beyond Seiko. Gone beyond one decent watch. Definitely, has gone past Rolex. Definitely likes his vintage. Definitely past being a smartass. Mike's not a smartass. Mike knows his stuff in vintage. I think Mike's at number 8. I think he's realizing the watch industry.
Yeah.
I think he's at 8.
Yeah, I'd agree
I
with
think
you
he's
there.
not number 9.
9? Nine's a good one, Collector Invest. I was thinking the same. Clyde, what do you think?
Being there.
Okay, so Archie and I have you at 8. Mike, Clyde, and Collector Invest have you at 9. Mike,
Yeah.
how would you rank yourself on this list?
Oh wow. Is higher better? Is that kind of the
Just read.
scale?
Well,
No, just read the-
it's
just read
phases. Mike, it's phases. High is not necessarily better. It's just phases
Oh.
of watch collecting.
Okay. Well, I don't know if I've been there because I really haven't owned that many watches. So I don't think 9. I would say 8. I would agree with 8. Let me get my glasses on. I need to read this. Self-proclaimed vintage expert. No, definitely not that. Being a smartass, definitely that. Yeah. Buy all Rolex. Yeah, I could be that.
No. That's not a smart ass in general. That's a watch smart ass.
Oh, a watch smartass. No.
Yes.
I'm still definitely. I do not consider myself a watch expert. I'm still definitely learning and open to learning, and always making incorrect guesses and showing that fact. So yeah, I guess 8 is definitely solid.
Alrighty, guys. Mike the Snake and 8. Archie, now you have a panel. You don't have to spend 20 minutes begging for people to come on. I'm going to head out, guys. Thank you so much for having me.
We got a great panel, a fantastic panel.
What's up, Mikey?
Oh, but you're going to be in San Francisco this weekend?
Not this weekend. In a few days, Mike. I'm going to shoot you a quick text when I hop off here. Just let you know the dates, and then you can let me know what day works for you, okay?
Perfect.
All right, guys. See you guys later.
See you, Dan.
What a great guy. It's been an absolute pleasure to have him on the channel there, getting us pepping up there. We've got, Rancher's here. We've got Rancher, Collector Invest, Mike the Snake, and Archie. Rancher, what's going on in your collector world? Sold things off? What's happening? You bought any cars? You got?
No, not really. Well, except for that SL 500.
Now, is there any? See, you were so happy when you had that car.
I'm really, really happy with the MR2.
Yeah.
Okay.
You've always been happy with the MR2. You've always spoken
I am
well of
so
it.
glad. I took it on the interstate and that thing a couple of times, and that thing from the turnpike, and that thing is a monster. It's just like there's one that's like 8 lanes. And you kind of look around. It's like, okay. Mm, did not disappoint.
Way to go.
Very
Yes.
cool.
And Rancher, tell us this, Rancher. The MR2, you've got the MR2 fully commissioned. Why don't you send me a WhatsApp on that? Let's get a picture up of it.
Oh, I think I see some pictures a while back, but
Yeah, those were ages ago. And what's happened with the Mercedes? Any chance you can get the Mercedes, or what's going on? That's
no,
definitely no.
I got an SL 600.
Okay.
No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm just kidding. I just wanted to see that hopeful look on your face. No, I didn't.
No, the SL600. I actually had a fan who had one. They're amazing. They're an amazing car. It's got the V12 in it.
Yep. Oh, Patek Philippe, super chat.
Super chat. Patek Philippe, $50. Mike the Snake sent you a text as promised. Thank you for having me on the stream. That's from Patek Philippe. I got to tell you something. I was talking. Oh, Mike, you might want to move your camera over. Sometimes we're seeing a guy walking past the door opening there.
Oh, all right. Sorry.
Just move the camera over a bit so that way there doesn't have the door. Yeah, that way there no one can. We can't. You know, we just don't want trouble. You know, Mike.
Yeah, no. I mean, seeing somebody walk by the door is no big deal. He just doesn't want. Yeah. Thank you.
I was offered a swap. I was offered a swap yesterday, Mike.
What's that?
I was offered a swap yesterday. Swap, you know.
For what?
Super chat.
Okay, so
there's the super chat.
Okay, super chat. We got a super chat just come in. Thank you so much, there, Mr. Zoso, $5 for Tan's effort. And is the Lalique a good value? Well,
yeah,
you sold yours, Clive.
No, I sold all 4 of mine.
You cashed out. He cashed out. He took his chips of life and he cashed out.
I think I'm gonna try for another one, but yeah.
Okay, now I got to sell you this watch. I was offered a swap. You tell me yes, no, maybe. Okay, Mikey.
Okay.
Okay, so I was offered a swap. World time, Patek World time for this.
Ooh. So okay, now we have talked about something similar to this, and you know what my response is to that, right?
Do it.
Okay, because it's the dualistic nature. Because the gold sub is Archie Luxury, but the Patek Philippe is Paul Pluta.
Yeah, the two are very cool. I don't know if I could do it.
How much is that?
They're about
Rolex
the same money
now?
Same money.
Yeah, about the same money, same value.
Yeah.
But you realize that Rolex is like down a little bit, so.
Everything's down a little bit, but you know what? It's amazing stuff. They're still amazing.
Yep.
Are you talking about the black, white dialed, black-handed world time that you have now?
I'll pull it up there.
Is 40 millimeters the 40 millimeter one, or 39, 40?
But you see, then you and Goldberg would be Gold Bluesy. You and Goldberg would be Gold Bluesy brothers. You would be part of the same clan. Well, maybe clan is not exactly the right word. Tribe? No, wait, that's
tribe.
That's
it. Okay, so have a look. Well, this is what the current one. Have a look at this. White gold. See, I don't know if I could do it. Mikey. Look at that. That's the one I got.
Yeah. I would take this over the bluesy, over the gold blue. Yeah, I would. As long as this is 40 millimeters or bigger.
Well, 39 and a half.
No,
39?
No. 39 is obviously for women and small children and the mentally disabled. We all know that.
39. Oh, this is the largest wall time they ever
It
did.
has
Put it
to
that
be
way.
40. It has to be 40.
Well,
Categorically.
the thing is, though, that the
I would
Submariner has a
take
big
the
fat
Rolex
bezel,
over
and
that
so
one.
its dial is about the same size as the inner ring on this watch, and so on the wrist, the 40 millimeter sub will actually appear smaller than this 39 millimeter because its dial is so much larger. Like from 6 feet away, this watch will look bigger on the wrist than the sub will.
I'm just kidding. That's a beautiful watch.
Yeah, this thing is just drop
I
dead.
was just making fun of stupid watch beliefs.
Oh, this thing is just drop dead. Gorgeous.
Yeah. You can't
If you
always
have-
get what.
You have one of these, right, Arch?
Mike.
Yeah.
That's mine. That is.
Did you notice the cuff that the watch is right by?
Oh yeah, I see that. Yeah. Okay. Keep this one, Archie. That would be my. That would be my.
Yeah.
my if I
Rancher,
were.
can I tell you something, Rancher? We all have regrets in life, right?
Right.
One thing I regret, I just want to share this with you. One thing I regret in my life is I wanted to fuck around with fun cars, right? And I never did it because I was always so scared of the bills, right?
Right.
One thing I love about you, Rancher, is you live your dream. You fuck around with a Celica, fuck around with the MR2, you fucked around with a Mercedes. You just fuck around with fun things. And you know what? You're not really losing any money at all. You're having a lot of fun, aren't you?
Exactly. Well, and like I said, compared to watches, it's damn near free. Like there's a super chat by the boss.
Super chat by the boss, Patek Philippe. AC3, head over to Tag Heuer website and select modern tag for the Rancher. That is not a Monaco.
Oh.
Yes. No, actually, there is some decent stuff. There are
decent ones.
I could pick something for the Rancher that he would love. I can tell you that now. That's not as stupid as you think it could be. Just say goodbye to that Patek there. That was fucking beautiful. I actually am really looking forward to when I get back to Australia. I'm going to go to the bank safe and take that Patek out. Okay, I'm taking it out.
Good move.
I thought you told me that all the watches were in the bedroom of your house.
He's keeping everybody on their toes, so nobody knows where anything's at.
No, I got them in the bank now. It doesn't matter. I learned. It is what it is. It is what it is. But you know what? Who we got on? We got someone jumping on. We got Mr. Z is on the screen. Mr. Z, how are you?
Hey, what's up, Arch?
Mr. Z.
Hey, Mr. Z.
Hey, Mikey.
Hey, I had
Rancher.
to
How you doing, Mr. Z?
Good collector. Archie, what the fuck are you doing? What are you doing? Don't you have a two-tone bluesy?
Yes, sir.
So what the fuck? That thing is a horrific piece of shit compared to your world time.
Exactly.
I mean, why would you even consider that? Seriously, what the fuck are you thinking?
You already got a blue sub.
That car.
This is for Rancher, by the way. I would say a Tag Heuer Carrera. Very retro. This 39 mil. That would be perfect for Rancher. Look at that. Look at that.
Actually, I think that is kind of like a cool watch.
It is a cool watch.
Alexa,
It has that two-tone.
convert 9,700 Australian dollars to American dollars.
Be about 70, 72.
That's $6,000.
$6,000? Wow, less.
Thanks for talking over Alexa, guys.
Sorry, pal. Seriously, Arch, what the fuck? I mean, why would you even put that on the screen? Are you seriously
I'm just telling
considering
you
that?
that was offered to me.
Yeah, but
I had to wait.
you're not considering that, are you?
He's
No,
trying to build.
no,
he's trying
no.
to build consensus in the community. He's trying to build awareness in the community.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. I mean, because somebody's always going to be out there that's going to offer you a swap for this or a swap for that. You know, it's just like, love what you own, and then hold on to it and love it.
You have a two-tone bluesy though, correct, Arch?
Correct. Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
Okay.
And that is a 41, right?
No.
Or is it a 40?
No, it was a 40.
No, it's a 40 maxi case.
Because it's the same one your mother has, Mr. Goldberg.
No.
Gold writing.
Gotcha.
Is it pre-ceramic?
Your mother.
No. It's a long joke. It's a
Oh no,
long joke.
Clive, I'm fully aware of who your mother is. Okay.
Yeah.
I would take a look
Archie's at
at
least acknowledging the family connection.
I got you. No problem. I've watched the show a few times. I understand.
Also, if you fuck with me, Mom will come. If you fuck with me, Mom will come down on you pretty hard.
All right. Nobody's gonna fuck with you. We don't fuck with Larique men.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I respect your rancher. I do. I may bust the balls every now and then, but I respect you.
Yeah, there's a reason Mama's boys. Sorry, go ahead.
Look at this. Tag Heuer Carrera Chrono. That's you, Clive. That's retro.
Not bad. It is not bad. It's got a nice. You're right. It does have a nice retro vibe to it. And for 6,000.
And look at this on the website. You can press the pushes. The pushes work. Look at the pushes. Look.
Yeah, if you wait a couple of years, you can pick this up for $1,800.
Sorry.
So if you wait a couple of years, you could pick this up for around $1,500 to $1,800.
Nah,
Yeah.
I'd say probably 35 or 4.
It could go up.
You're pushing it, Clive. You could probably buy it new for that right now. I mean, there's a lot of watches in that price range that are much better than this.
Yeah, look at this. Look at the cool travel
It's got
pouch.
a complimentary travel pouch.
That's a 356, Mikey. Look at that. That's a 356 or not, Mikey?
And it's Ryan Gosling. Ryan.
I can't tell.
That changes everything.
I honestly can't tell.
Yeah.
I wouldn't venture to guess.
Yeah, with the money that they spend on advertising and all the famous people that they have wearing their wristwatches, you'd think they'd be able to put out a decent product. Yeah.
I think that might be a decent.
It's affordable, Mr. Zosto. It's affordable product.
I don't think it's affordable. I think you're getting fucked. You're going to lose about 60% at retail the second you walk out the door.
Well, let's look it up. Let's Gumtree or Chrono 24. Let's see what they're going for. Pre-owned.
Okay.
Let's pre-owned. See if they're worth.
Good point.
Is there a reference number? Is there a number? Because we want to get the exact same one. Here we go. That's the number. I'm going to go to Chrono. Let's go to Chrono and see what this fucker is going for. I'm just going to paste the number because that number. Okay, here we go. Low to high. You can get one for 4.5, 4.7.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, 47. There you go. So a little under 5, and
Japan.
in a little
Which means
while.
we took out half the links.
Yeah, so in a couple of years, this watch is going to be trading under $3,000, no problem, and you wouldn't be able to give the fucking thing away. So
and it could go up too. So
no, it's not going up. No.
Yeah, Tag has
It's a nice
this
watch.
kind of it's got a niche in the watch world that like it doesn't fall into the like crap category and it doesn't fall into the hot horology category. It's like right smack in the middle. You know what I mean?
No. Any watch that I could
Name
buy,
just
any watch
depends
that I
on
could
the
buy at Macy's,
design and
I'm not
all that.
interested in.
Well, okay, but I mean, they don't. My Macy's doesn't even carry
What if you
Tag
could buy
anymore.
Not
some Macy Gray?
horrendously designed, at least.
What do
The
you
only,
think, Arch?
really,
What-
the only tag I really consider offhand is the Monaco.
I got to tell you, Mr. Zoso, let me tell you this, okay?
I'm listening.
Not everyone can afford a Mercedes, okay? And this is the
I,
thing.
I don't drive a fucking Mercedes. I'm not
But what I'm trying to
retarded.
say is, but what I'm saying is, a couple goes into Rolex. They're getting married. He's bought her just under like a 0.75 diamond ring as a wedding gift. She wants to buy him a watch because he always wanted a watch, right? They go to the Rolex agency. Even if they had stock, they couldn't afford it, right?
Archie, for $1,500, for $1,500, you can buy a superior watch. You could buy a Hamilton Intramatic for around somewhere between $1,100 and $1,500, and it's a better watch than what we're looking at here. Okay,
Doesn't have the
you don't have to. Yeah, exactly correct. You don't have to spend thousands of dollars to get a good quality watch. I agree with you there, but you don't. You also don't have to buy this depreciating piece of shit as well. I mean, there's plenty
it's
of
not as bad as you think. It's not
there's
as
plenty
bad.
of watches. There's plenty of watches in the $900 to $2,000 range that are chronographs that have decent in-house movements in them, or better than what we're looking at here for less than half the money. So I think that you're looking at this watch and you're spending around $4,000 for it. You're making a mistake. In my opinion. That's all I'm saying.
We just pulled this watch up for the discussion. You know, it's not like anybody's really considering.
That's what we're
buying it.
doing, Mike. We're discussing it. That's correct.
I would
Yeah, but I
compare
mean,
it
it's
to
not like
other-
anybody's considering, and we're trying to talk them in or out of it. Like, because there's offerings from Omega and Tudor.
Absolutely.
You know,
I like
Just compare this to the designs of the other Tag Heuers.
What do you
yeah.
think, Mike? You think this is
More
a good value?
horrendous to compare to the other
That young
Tag
couple that are buying that diamond ring and they're starting their life out. You think you'd be telling them to buy this watch, Archie?
Look, the thing
I mean,
is,
it's your analogy. So, would you advise them to buy something like this?
the thing is, okay, what other? Look, I tell you this now.
Are you having trouble with this question, or?
They can buy this watch on terms. It's got all the right slick advertise, the beautiful box, the bag.
So you advise them to buy watches on terms. This is your advice from the pontiff.
Would you,
Archie?
Archie?
If they didn't offer to finance on cars, the American car industry would die overnight.
Archie, though, would you suggest somebody get, let's say, an Omega chrono or a Tudor chrono before they got this chrono?
$5,000 watch have to do with American cars? Look at American car market. What the fuck are you talking about?
Look, they don't have any money. They're all living beyond their means.
That's been the way of life since the 1950s, Arch. And that's worldwide. So big bum ringer there, pal.
Mr. Z, that's called the Archie spin.
Here's the thing.
You know what? If I was getting married to Becky, right, I don't think receiving this Tag Heuer Carrera would be that bad.
Like, design-wise, it's better than the others.
It's a beautiful looking watch, Mr. Zoso.
It's a very nice looking watch. I just think it's overpriced. That's my opinion.
Yeah,
At least
you-
It's
it's
all relative.
better
Price is all
designed than
relative.
the
You
other.
know what I mean?
Yes, everything is relative. That's correct.
I mean,
And-
you're
and
talking to a
when-
guy. How many Daytonas have you got?
Too many.
Hey, bring up the
Or
other
Daytona.
Tag Heuer, see how they compare their looks to this.
Look, I I got to tell you this. The thing is this: the bottom, that entry level luxury stuff, right? I tell you something. I look at this Lynx. This really makes me want to vomit. It's got so many flaws that are not luxury. It's gold plated. It's quartz. It's so many sins it commits. You know what I mean?
And yet people coveted them.
yeah,
Sorry?
before I knew watches, I thought that was the coolest thing
Yeah.
ever. I love the bracelet, but now I hate it.
I got plenty of shitters, Arch. Stop with the, you own so many luxury. I'm a watch collector. So I got plenty of $500 watches, $300 watches, $800 watches. Don't fucking put that on me just because I like expensive watches. I love all kinds of watches.
Be prepared to be anally raped.
Yeah.
But the problem is, Mr. Zoso, this is where you walk away from the watch industry. Do you hate watches at times? They're not good value. What is a young couple? So you're saying they should buy a Hamilton? Is that right?
Look, if you're comparing the two, I would. And they asked me which one I would buy the Hamilton. Yeah, I would.
Well, let me look up Tag Heuer.
Yeah.
But
I
in
gotta
that
be
same
honest
range,
with you.
though, you have offerings from Omega and Tudor
It's
as well.
it's a huge segment. It's a huge segment.
And many other
But
companies.
at this price point, I would not be buying that watch. I would not advise it. Rancher,
Yes.
would you?
It's an attractive watch. It does have a lot of things going for it, but hell, you might as well get a Longines for a discount.
There you go. Agreed.
There you go.
Archie?
I got to tell you, man, there is some amazing. Look, I think at the price point, if you just buy this one and go on with Becky and Becky and what's his name? Chad, they just want to live happily ever after. They want to get a Labrador. They want to get a rental. They want to rent a house together. They want to, man, they got so much fun to have, right? What's to say the marriage even lasts? Okay.
And what does that have to do with this watch?
Doesn't matter. They want to fulfill the dream. They're living the American dream of happiness. The pursuit of happiness. That's the American dream.
All right, let's say they're Yugoslavian.
Sorry?
They're not American, Archie. Are you advising them to buy this watch?
Well, wait, are you Yugoslavian? There's Yugoslavia basically
Croatia.
dissolved Croatia, Serbia,
I
Montenegro.
was looking at the
Tell
other
them to get a nice Vostok.
Also,
Bingo. Great
yeah,
watch.
yeah.
Actually,
I
I think that
miss
one
out
is
on
a
it.
better
Tag Heuer.
looking.
Is Hamilton quality with Rolex advertising? Can we say that?
Yeah.
Not so much.
It's not a terrible analogy, but
Yeah,
It's not the best, but it's
People like
it's
that. It's
It's-
advertising. They want to be winners, okay?
they do.
I mean, for
They
God's
are.
sake, Ryan Gosling is in the advert for it. She loves Ryan. Why do you think they got Ryan Gosling pushing it? Because she's the one who says, get it.
because their watches
She had
are overpriced.
She had a
They're-
dildo.
They're fucking people royally.
She's got a purple dildo named Ryan in her closet at the bottom, okay?
Well, we know what your mind is.
By the way, if you want to, what is it? Four Things that came out last year. If you're an Emma Stone fan, you want to watch that.
Well,
Okay.
Tag definitely does market heavily.
There was so much
But-
nudity in it, even though I was saying towards halfway through, it's like, okay, that's enough. Seriously.
Wow.
I'm missing what the other ones are like.
And also Emma Stone needs a boob job. But mostly the first part.
The Monaco
Good.
is kind of good. But the others are not good except for that
I
one.
gotta tell you,
and-
Clive, I gotta tell you, man, the truth is, a lot of people can't afford the good stuff, okay? Like a decent, they just want to buy a Chevy Cruze. Mr. Zoso,
No.
they got Chevy Cruze
No.
money.
They will get fucked. They will get fucked. They will lose money. They will be, yes. And these sort of people can be described in 2 words: future pedestrians.
You know, a Chevy Cruze. Do you know what a Chevy Cruze is?
They don't make them.
Zoso?
They don't make them anymore.
Were they a good car?
No,
No.
it was probably one of the worst cars ever made.
Right.
ABC, £2. Did the landlady put a spell on that two-tone link?
Ooh.
You know what? It's actually it's very 90s. It's 90s. It's 90s.
Even if
90s.
it was like even if it was like a steel links, I would feel better about that. But two-tone links.
And it's only plated. It's not actually gold. You know, it's plated. But I think it's it's a watch for the times. That's what the times were. They were like that. We got a super chat. Patek Philippe, $5. AC3, who on the panel could pull off a Panther and who on the panel could pull off a Cougar? So the Panther is the rectangular quartz Cartier. The Cougar was a round version of it.
Was it quartz as well?
I've owned both. I have owned both.
Are they both quartz?
Have a look. Cartier.
Further proof of ladyboy action for Archie.
No.
Yeah,
Mercury Cougar was the same thing as the Thunderbird.
Cougars.
Yeah. If we're talking cars, yeah.
Yep.
The Cougar was basically the same thing as a Mustang.
Why did they call it a Cougar then?
The
Because older women liked it.
Mercury Cougar, I think it was Mercury, was the same platform as the Ford Mustang.
Thunderbird.
No, Mustang.
Wearing the Panda today.
You're wearing the Panda?
Panda. You know what?
How?
Yeah, nice
Yes.
watch. It pretty much goes with everything. Very for a cheap shit $15,000 chronograph, it pushes all the buttons.
What kind of Panda?
But it's not a cheap, shitty
There's
$15,000
only one
chronograph. It's a $30,000 chronograph, Mr. Zoso.
Oh, Rolex.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that Rolex. Yeah. I got to tell you, seriously, who could pull off a Panther or a Cougar? Let's have a look. I reckon I'd go for the Cougar. What do you think? Cougar? You got the Cougar guy. I could be a Cougar. Fuck me dead. They kind of have dated, haven't they? When that Tag Heuer was out, these Cougars were what rich people would wear. The real rich people wore Cougars, and then they had Panther.
Huh. Well.
You got another super chat.
Fuck, they're not that cheap, these Panthers. We got another super chat. Patek Philippe, $2. How was dinner last night, and what did you have? I had some pork on the side because there's never enough protein in China, and I had some soup. That's what I had. Soup, noodle soup was delicious.
How much longer are you in China?
Oh, by the way,
I am back. I am flying back next Tuesday. This coming Tuesday.
A week.
Yeah, just under a week.
You ignored a super chat by Patel earlier.
Oh, okay. Oh, there we go. Patek Philippe, $2. What's the best Steinhardt for Clyde's mum?
She died 9 years ago next week.
So I guess the cheapest one.
Right.
You know what? I got to tell
Did
you,
you
some
do
of these
any?
Steinhardt.
Did you go to
Look at
any
this
of the
here.
malls, Archie? Did you go shopping in any of the malls and any of the watch malls?
Yes, I have. I have. You know what? Prices are so much more expensive than Hong Kong. High taxes on this stuff.
And have you visited Tianjin? Are you close? Or
Super chat.
Here we go. We got a super chat. Elds, $2. Mikey, can we get a Porsche update? Yes. What's happening with the? I tell you just very quickly. I reckon this Explorer 1 knockoff looks pretty damn good. Don't you think that looks good for a Stein? Look at that. Is that not? Does that not look good?
Yeah, it's a sharp looking watch.
I think it looks cool.
I think that looks very fucking cool. I'd even say that's. Look at that. It's just completely.
It's a simple design. It actually.
Okay, the bracelet sucks. The
I'd
back
hate to get shot.
sucks.
I'd hate to get shot for it, though.
Sorry? You'd hate
I'd
to
hate
get
to get
shot.
shot for it, though.
good point, Clyde.
If they would
Sorry,
put
getting back
more
to
money
the
in the
Porsche. What's
price.
happening to the Porsche, Mikey?
I think I'd rather have the Heinz.
Porsche is perfect. It's in the garage waiting for me to hop in and go for a drive. It just today it happened to reach 104 degrees.
Yep.
And it's just a little too hot for me to want to get in my car and drive it.
For convert. Even though, mine, even though the AC works, it never works as well as convertible as it does a hard top. And the irony is that the spring and fall are the times to have a convertible. Really, it's too damn hot here in the summertime. And mine was in the shop getting that new transmission all spring. The best time. But you know what? Still happy. Still
Your
glad.
Your MR2.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you've expressed your like of MR2s for a very long time, and I'm in complete agreement with you. The MR2 is a formidable car. Always has been. Every version of it, even the original version, was really groundbreaking. Mid-engine, kind of square. The second generation,
it had the stick shift up and to the right, almost like it was like an F-16.
Yeah.
I love shifting that damn thing.
Yeah. And
So we got almost 300 people watching supposedly. Maybe I don't know how many are actually watching, but you guys, it would be nice if you guys upvoted because the upvotes are very low on my screen.
You know what?
Shout out to Jimmy and Toyota Mo and
it just went up by one.
M2 Carlino and Mike the Mistake and Once You See It. And
Mike the Mistake.
You got ABC here. You got a ton of great punters here, Arch, that you should say hello to every day when you come in.
Yes, sir.
Like Curly does. He engages with his chat. It'd be a wonderful thing. I know Clyde's good at yelling and screaming for super chats, but truth be told, there's a lot of people in here to support you, and
yes,
and you should acknowledge them. There is Dirk Diggler. Look at that.
You got Toyota
Upvote.
Dirk's in the house.
Diggler.
Malik Diamond is here.
Toyota Mo.
Yes, Toyota Mo is here.
We got my best friend Jimmy.
Jimmy is here.
Is that Jimmy Neutron?
Little Dave is here.
All we need is Bob's Golden Watches. Where's he?
Rancher, you're going to upvote, right?
Absolutely.
Thank you, sir. Cabby Lake. Ryan Joffrey is here. Ryan Joffrey. John Galt. Look at all these turkeys all of a sudden.
Who's John Galt?
I don't know. It's in memory of Coda, he says. And Mike the Mistake upvoted twice.
Mr. Zoso.
What?
Mr. Zoso, I had a bad run. I went for a test drive, and they told me to go back to making shitty YouTube videos, Mr. Zoso.
You want me to give the guy a call,
told
Archie,
you
and
that?
straighten him out?
Who told
You
you
want me
that?
to make his life miserable? Because I can do
The
that.
BMW dealer.
Would you like that? I'll do that for you. I'll call this fucking guy and straighten this all out. I'll have them at your house with a car waiting for you outside.
Exactly.
I mean,
And then
you like that,
he'll
Lance?
make you. They'll make them kiss your feet every time they.
There you go. We're going to wash him as
Mr.
well.
Zoso, I got to tell you something. Seriously, I got to say this to you. You know, I don't want anything from them. I'm just done with the brand. You know that? They don't care. They honestly don't care, Mr. Zoso. I got to be honest with you. They
What's the
don't
issue?
care.
Why don't they care? Tell me what's wrong. Let's fix this.
They
Well,
just,
show
they
me
just
a
wanna-
car
they
company
just
that
wanna
does
move
care.
product. They just
Show
want
me
to
a-
move product.
Show
I
me a-
care,
There's
Michael.
nobody cares anymore. You know that? I tell you honestly, nobody cares. You know.
I care. I'll straighten it out for you. What do you want? Tell me what you want. Now, do you just want to complain? Because that's a righteous thing. If you just want to complain, we're here to listen. But if you actually want something, we can make that happen as well.
I think Archie
I'm
likes to
just
complain.
disappointed. You know that, Mr.
Yeah.
Zoso? It doesn't matter anymore. I'm
All
just
right.
disappointed.
They
I just
just
want to
super
live in.
lowballed. They super lowballed him on his
Well,
car. His
I don't
existing
care
car.
about the low ball. That's just the state of the business, right? But I just complained to them.
The way you're
You know,
treated.
Mr. Zoso, I tell you something. You don't realize this. When you tell a customer to fuck off, right?
Never.
And when you embarrass their profession and belittle their profession,
I would never do that, Archie.
Look at how much damage that statement is causing, because 300 people are now hearing this against BMW. They're
gotta tell you,
turning people away from BMW.
Oh, hey
I
guys,
wrote
I'm
to
going to go to a family cookout, so be well.
I would
Hey,
much rather.
Rancher,
I would
thanks for coming.
take care, Rancher. Nice to see you, sir.
See you, Rancher.
Well, I'm gonna get off here.
Oh wait, super chat
So
before I
why-
leave. Read Toyota. No, read the other Toyota guy's super chat.
Toyota Mo, $10. Arch, please give Blondie a wrench. We can do that.
I think I could get away saying that. I've got 4 Toyotas.
All right. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I've got 300 currently.
Do you have a Supra?
300 Toyotas?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, how many Supras do you have?
None.
Do you have a Supra?
How many Toyota? Well, what kind of Toyotas then?
Every one they make. They're just putting the Supra back into production, so we are getting a Supra.
The new Supra's a BMW.
Yeah,
I'm talking.
That's correct. Yes.
I'm talking the Mark IV, the Mark IV Supra, the
It
real
was a
Supra.
mistake. Yeah, it's a mistake, and
The two
we're paying for it. So
Talk
Are
about
they
the two.
redoing the MR2? I've been hearing like scuttlebutt that they're redoing the MR2 for like the last 2 or 3 years now.
yeah, there's
Oh.
there's gonna be a lot of new cars coming out that are retro.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, I will rephrase that. As another Toyota guy, please read Toyota Maze.
Toyota Mo, $9.99. Arch, please give Blondie a wrench.
Done. It's done. I've done
Thank
it.
you.
Also, if you want to send Blondie a Cash App, her Cash App is $Blondie time. $Blondie time. If you have the dollars, Blondie has the time.
And send her a
Now,
rose too.
I gotta tell you, what about a Land Cruiser? Do you have any Land Cruisers in stock, Mr. Zoso?
We sell them before they hit the lot, Arch, and they're not what they used to be.
Nope.
So you have another super chat here from Patek Philippe.
Here we go, another super chat. Patek Philippe, $2. AC3, name brands you would trade Rolex for.
Well, it depends what. Okay, I gotta go. Bye. Okay.
See you later. What brands would I trade Rolex for?
Oh.
It's model dependent.
Look, I love the Pateks. It depends on the watch, like something may not. Like I'm in love with the IWC Perpetual calendar in gold. It's a hockey park Perpetual calendar bargain on the secondary market.
Pull it
If
up,
you look good,
Arch. Pull it up.
I'll show you one I was offered, Mr. Zoso.
All right, let's see it.
I just got to find it. The whole.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry I said that. I retract the R word. I hope I don't get banned on YouTube. Okay? Got another super chat while you're pulling it up.
Here we go. I'm pulling it up now. Ryan. Here we go. This is what I love. Here we go. We got Ryan J03, $2. I don't drive a Mercedes. I'm not retarded. Well, I got to be honest with you. Some of those new Mercedes, they are really plastic garbage. They really are.
They're not a good car anymore. All right. So what are we looking at here? This is whose watch is that, by the way? Is that someone you know?
Yes. Same
Is
guy
that a-
who offered me a swap on the gold.
Is that the super collector?
Yep. What do you think?
All right. I think it's a beautiful watch.
I like it.
Now, would you swap? See, the thing is, Rolex holds its money. Rolex is one of the few brands where you can, when you're doing a swap, like Mr. Zoso, you did a swap. You traded a Rolex to get your Patek, right? Now,
I did.
The reality is, there's nothing that really holds value like that. You couldn't do it with Breitling. Breitling sinks like a stone.
Garbage, yeah.
Well, it's not garbage, but it's just.
Can we take that
doesn't-
super chat off the screen, please? I don't want to offend anyone. And Patek Philippe is up next.
Yeah, Patek Philippe, $2. Why have you abandoned the Breitling Navi timer, Patek Philippe? I haven't abandoned the Breitling Navi timer. You just got to buy it sensibly.
I traded mine. You the mint one, that's gone.
I actually like the Navitimer.
I love your mint one. You know that?
Yeah, it was a nice watch.
You lost money.
Nah, not really. A little bit, nothing crazy. But truth be told, Arch, I mean, once you own a Daytona, it's
Nothing
garbage.
compared.
Yeah. Let's just put it like that. I liked it, but it just annoyed me. The quality of it was,
It's not the same.
It's not the same.
I've heard other people make the same comment about Breitling.
Yeah,
So what are you looking to
right.
trade this? What's the trade on this?
Look, at the moment, the problem is, right, my eyes are far bigger than my wallet. I could spend money, buy this, buy that, buy. There's so many, sometimes you can get addicted to buying things. You know this, Mr. Zoso.
It's like when you go to the restaurant, you order, your eyes are bigger than your stomach, and you order all this food, and you can't finish half of it. Right?
So I realize you got a lot of time to fill here, but I did ask a very simple question. What is it that you were looking to put up against this? Are you interested in this watch?
Explorer 2.
Explorer 2. And how much cash? Even swap?
No. Explorer 2 would be about half the money.
Okay. So they're giving you what, about 8,000 US for your Explorer 2 in trade?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, fuck that. No way. No way.
They were offering me fucking 6 US. It's tough, okay?
Whoa. Oh, no.
But it's naked. It's naked, Mr. Zoso, because the burglars took.
Okay, Archie, I don't know. You've been collecting watches for a long time, and all this naked shit doesn't mean anything when it comes to Rolex. All right? It takes 5 minutes to authenticate a Rolex. You go to Rolex AD, he looks at the watch, he runs the number on the serial number on it, you're done. Okay? If they have to open the back or put a loop on it, whatever, naked bullshit, gray market bullshit. Okay? It doesn't mean a damn thing. So now let's move on to your super chats. You got a super chat from Ross Rachel Brady.
Ross Rachel Brady Network. $5. Blondie is the most, we've given her a wrench. Blondie is the most beautiful, amazing, and articulate. She brings joy and happiness into people's lives, and she brings love and joy to mine. And we got a Patek Philippe super chat, $5 Canadian. Have you ever tried Chinese Indian fusion cuisine in Singers? No. How does that work? Are you into fusion? What do you think of fusion? That's where they mix different type of things. I tell you one thing for sure is the worst. I've had some of the best pizza in China and some of the worst pizza in China. Okay? The very high-end Italian in China is amazing. The middle tier is garbage. Garbage. They have no idea what they're doing. That's the thing I love about New York City, Mr. Zoso, is the fact that you have such amazing pizza and it's affordable, very, very affordable in the big city. In the big city, it's very affordable. Have you tried fusion, Mikey? Mikey, have you tried fusion?
Not really. No. I don't go out that often, and when I do, it's usually just the standards: pizza, Chinese, Italian.
Yeah, I think I've had a few fusion things. I'm not sure. Patek Philippe, $5. It's basically spicy American style Chinese food. They use fresh green chilies and the dishes have gravy like curry. Pretty good. Okay. Not a bad cue there. Not a bad thing. Mikey, you know one thing I really find in China is so amazing here, Mikey?
What's that?
Oh no, it's something that's missing in China. They have absolutely no older cars.
Well,
like even like 90s, I haven't seen any 90s cars on the roads, and they don't have classics. There's no, like, normally you see classic cars, right?
Well, that's because I think 20 years ago, like, very few people had cars at all, and that they're exploding, you know, financially and as a country, that now so many more people are able to get cars. They're all going to be of newer vintage.
And basically, cars over the age of 15 are required to be scrapped.
Ah, that would also explain it. I know in Japan, I think I heard somewhere that once you've reached 20,000 miles or kilometers, your engine has to be replaced. But that may be a fallacy. It's something I heard. But I know that in America, that you can buy 20,000 mile engines that are straight from Japan. There are shops that do engine swaps. $1,000 in and out the same day with a 20,000 mile Japanese engine for your for your Toyota you blew your engine up on. Those are
chat. Gun Glutton. Gun Glutton's come in here. Archie, pull up the Delray watch Vacheron Multi 82230 DDD. I want. He's not a sponsor of my channel, I'm afraid, so we're not going to be doing that. But it's an 8. What's the number? 82. What's the reference? I'll get it myself, Mikey. Don't worry. Mikey. Where's Mikey
sir.
gone?
Yes, sir. Sorry, I was just typing.
That's okay. Okay, I got to tell you, Mikey. I'm just going to call this up here. The Vacheron. Just going to get this watch up on the screen now for us to have. That's a fucking Torno case. Ugly as fuck. This would have to be one of the. These are impossible to sell. I mean, there's Vacherons that are fucking hard to sell, and this is certainly one of them. These are impossible. There is weird Torno case. Gun glutton. I'd probably stay the fuck away from it. Stay the fuck away from that gun glutton. You'll never get out of that thing. That's for sure.
Torno is definitely not in vogue these days.
Yeah. Let's have a look. What are they going for on Chrono? I'm just going to have a look on Chrono 24 to see what the fuck. These Torno watches, fuck, nobody fucking wants them. And the reality is, it's a Vacheron. It's a fucking Vacheron, for God's sake. Having a look, I'm just calling them up. Loader high now. $11,000 is the cheapest one on Chrono. Fuck, it's actually not bad buying. Mikey, this could be a watch for. It's definitely a conservative dress watch. A little bit conservative, but it's still a beautiful. I kind of. What do you think? Do you like it or not?
I like the square edge kind of Torno shape better than the round edge Torno shape. But I'm not a big fan of Torno's, shape. So.
Yeah, $12,000. It's not expensive. The problem is, talking $12,000. You could get into a much nicer patrimony. Why couldn't you get into a patrimony? That's what I would get into, a patrimony tradition now. Let's have a look. Look at this. This is similar money. I'd much rather have one of these. Look at this. Loader high, patrimony.
What's the size of this?
Ladies one here, but for about the same money, look at this. These here, this would be much better buying. Look at this. I wouldn't you prefer one of these? Same fucking money.
What's the
size on this baby? 38 mil rose gold. Look at that. Wouldn't you prefer that? Same money, 11,000. Wouldn't you prefer that?
Yeah, even though it's a little small, I would take this over the Torno shaped.
Yeah. The Torno, they're a bit of an acquired taste. I think this is much nicer watch. Dress watches can be a little bit small, but
much more classic styling.
It's fucking beautiful. Beautiful. We got Patel for $8. Name watch. One watch you'd seriously trade and cash up from World Time. Name one watch you'd seriously trade plus cash up from World Time. Man, I'd have to say I would trade up for a Perpetual calendar like Tan's. I want to be like Kessler and Tan. I actually do. I don't know. I really do love my World Time I've got. Fuck, this tradition, this patrimony is not bad buying. Look at that. That's fucking beautiful, mate. I got to be honest with you. I'm just going to bring the photo up. This is my World Time. I really do love this watch. I think it's fucking...
That thing is pure sex, dude. That thing is pure sex.
You know what I mean? Just keep it, enjoy it, fuck it. You know?
Yep.
I think that's what should be done.
This gets the Mike the Snake seal of approval.
The Mike the Snake seal of approval. You don't give that out willy-nilly.
It's the first time I've ever done it.
I love it. I really do love it. We've got another super chat in here. We've got one. Oh, here we go. Patek Philippe, $5. Would you trade your Beamer and World Time for the 5320? I love my car. I don't want to get out of it. I'm upside down on a fleece. Okay, it's not paid off. But say it was. I think it's worth. Fuck me, they're expensive. That's probably a. No, I wouldn't. No, I wouldn't. My car's worth more than that, Tan. Mikey, there's no classic cars here in China. I'm just going to get a glass of water. Just cover me. I'll run a clip, Mikey. I'll run a clip.
Okay.
Because I have Mookie clips. I got Mookie clips. I'll run a clip.
Okie dokie.
There we go.
I hate YouTube. It can be hard. I've done a few silly things. I need more money. I might even sell a few watches. Gotta get that mindset right. Get that mindset. Maybe I'm going about this the wrong way. Gotta get that mindset right. It's over at 50. At 50! Not many people want to hire you. Finding a new job can be difficult. It can be hard. I need more money. Get that mindset. Gotta get that mindset right. Mindset. 50. Gotta get that mindset right. I hate YouTube. So maybe the best thing I could do is who knows? There's many opportunities for me to follow. So maybe the best thing I could do.
There we go. That's a Mookie clip. Thank you, Mookie, for the clip. Thank you so much there. I got to tell you something. One thing I find in China that's really interesting, Mikey, no classic cars. No older cars. There's not many older cars.
Yeah, well, like I said, I think, because China, just not too long ago was, it wasn't growing as fast as it is now, and I just don't think cars are available to as many people. And
have you been to China, Mike?
No, definitely not.
Okay,
but
maybe you may not be the best source of knowledge then.
Yes, I might not be the best
there.
one to comment.
May not be the best one to understand China. If you haven't been there, it kind of works against you. Mikey, let me talk to you, Mikey. Let's talk, Mikey.
Okay.
I got to tell you something. Tell me this. You love your car, don't you? Your car's going well.
Yes. Absolutely.
Would you any chance you'd get out of it now, or have you?
Oh, for the right price? Yes, absolutely. 100%. And there's a couple of cars that I would swap it.
Have you put it up for sale?
No. But there's a number of cars that I would swap it for. But they're very specific.
A Pantera?
Yeah, a Pantera or a properly done resto mod. Worth roughly the same amount, like a '69 Camaro with a fully done up LS
No, you wouldn't.
conversion.
You
They're
do a
they're
rest. You
100.
would actually.
Yeah, or a fully blown like Pro Street, with the humongo rear tires and slammed, and I just love that style. And I started out drag racing early on. I love that style, um, and the right one of those, a '63 split window Corvette might be in the running. Um, there's
I
a
love
couple of
that. Those
others.
split windows. They were only done for a very short time, weren't they?
1 or 2 years, I think. Yeah. And so yeah, there's a few cars that if somebody came along and said, hey, you want to swap? I would do it. Otherwise, if the right price came along, I would sell my car for sure. Everything's for sale.
Everything is for sale. I got to tell you, man. We got another super chat. Here we go. Patek Philippe. Head over to the LV website and pick a bag for Whiskey Reaper that you feel suits his style. His style. We're going to go to Whiskey Reaper's style. Now, I got to tell you something. Louis Vuitton themselves there, they are so fucking expensive. And I got to be totally honest with you. A lot of the Louis, the big problem I have with Louis is that it's not really, Mikey, they really want to push stuff. They want sales. They're no longer interested in their history. They want to get sales, Mikey. So that really disappoints me. Okay, let's have a look. We go to the Art of Living because that's the only place we're going to get something. I'm going to find something for my good friend Whiskey Reaper. Trunks and Travel. Let's go for a box. Boxes. I always think men should have boxes. I always love a good box. You know this? I can tell you this, Mikey. Look at this. There's some good boxes. Look at this. Look, some boxes. Chest box, $26,000. Crawford Accessories duck. Look at that. It's got the duck on it. There's a leopard. Look at these. These are some beautiful boxes. Look at these boxes here.
I have a vintage chest box, a wooden vintage chest box, but it doesn't have handles. It's got drawers, one side for chess pieces and one side for checker pieces. But
these boxes,
very beautiful.
Okay, so what would I get? I tell you what we would get for Whiskey Reaper. We would go for the Crawford 8 Camouflage. This is what we go for him. Look at this. It's 70. It's Aussie dollars. Look at that. This is the watch box. Crawford.
Yeah.
Look at it. Beautiful.
I agree.
It's got.
I like it.
There we go. That's for Whiskey Reaper. This is what we get for him. And there's some matching stuff. There's a trunk. That's 116,000. This is an Aussie. There's a shoe box. That's 26,000 bucks. That's what we would get.
Woo!
Actually, the standard one here is 76,000. Fuck, that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
76,000. Fuck. Yeah, so there we go. That's what we get for Whiskey Reaper. We get him a box. That's what we should do, is get him a box. A box. I think that's the way I would go. Mike, tell me this: how are you doing art still? What's happening with you? You doing art? You making things? What's going on? The lathe. Remember, you had the lathe. You made a lot of nice woodwork.
Absolutely. No, Archie, my care for my mother is just growing in intensity as she is getting further along, and so my main, thing every day is her care, and everything of mine is pretty much on hold. Um, I'm spending as much time with my mother as I can while I have her. She's my best friend. I love her to death. I'm a total mama's boy. I cherish every moment with her, and I'm gonna take every moment I can with her. So, everything I've got going on is on hold. Not everything. I mean, I just all extraneous like recreational stuff is on hold.
How many tenants have you got in the house now? You're renting one room or
Just one room.
just one room? Would you rent any more rooms out?
No. I was holding my own fine renting the entire house by myself, but I just happened to happen upon the perfect roommate, and I actually offered him the roommateship. He didn't ask, and I offered it to him months before he even took me up on the offer. His
Yeah.
situation changed and he needed it, and he said, "Is that offer still good?" And I said, "By all means." I just lucked out. That's all I can say, because I've struck out with previous roommates, and with with the present roommate, I hit a home run. That's all I got to say, man.
That's the important thing. You've got to have a situation that you're comfortable in. Tell me this, Mike. You know what I find really lonely in China? I want to share this with you. I'll tell you something funny in China. Like, China has a lot of American cars that we don't have in Australia. We got a lot of Cadillacs in China. Cadillacs.
Oh, yeah, I could see those being real popular.
You know, like they have the Cadillac SUV, the mid-sized Cadillac SUV.
Oh, yeah, not their Escalade.
No, we don't really have Escalade size vehicles. They're too big, I think. They're too big.
Yeah. They're
But
like
we
a
got the
full-size
mid-size.
truck.
They have Lincolns here.
Mm-hmm.
And I like the Buick. What's the Buick? The Buick Riviera. The Buick, that's a nice looking car.
I can't picture it right now. You know what cars I do like, if you're talking like two-door cars. The Cadillac CTS is a monster. It's a Cadillac, but it's a absolute hot rod. And it's just as good looking as all get out. And there's a number of Lexuses and that are really sharp. Yeah. There's a few good. There's
LV's also gone into some weird high-tech shit. LV nanogram speaker. So I think that's like a Bluetooth speaker. Have a look at this, man. Have a look at this. Introducing the new LV nanogram speaker designed for seekers of new horizons. Okay, so what does it do?
Is this the one that goes on your jaw?
Okay, how much is this fucking thing? Doesn't tell me. Nanogram speakers, $3,500 fucking dollars. There's one for $4. Oh, that's the camouflage one's more expensive. Fuck. What do you do with these nano speakers?
I saw something. It wasn't round. It was rectangular, but it fit inside your your mouth up against your jawbone and transmitted the sound through your skull.
That's scary.
You know what these are, Archie? These are
They're
just
fucking.
they're just little itty bitty
Fuck you,
speakers that make big sound. That's all they are.
Are they any good?
If you like big sound at lower volumes, you know, the main thing is like Bose was, I think, a pioneer in the area of making really small speakers that still have like lots of real heavy, solid bass. You know, that can't really
A lot of
usually be.
these smaller speakers, they miss out on the bass. You know, the bass. I want bass, man.
So like Bose and like these nano speakers probably have kick-ass bass while fitting in the palm of your hand. You know, that's probably why they're, you know, new and being promoted. You know, technology today is just going crazy. So they're making bigger, better sound out of smaller packages. But honestly,
Yes.
there's no substitute for a big 12 or 18-inch woofer connected to a guitar amp and actually being at a show or having a really
I got to
big.
tell you something. This stuff is expensive. Look at this LV shit. If you really wanted, like, this is a rolling trunk. We can take that on an airplane. 13,900. Fuck, that's expensive. 14,000 fucking. It's Aussie. Does 10,000 US.
This is the
This
Archie
luggage
luxury.
stuff,
This is
it's
the Archie luxury
300
channel.
fucking thousand for sneaker trunk. Look at this sneaker.
300,000.
Fuck.
Think of how many sneakers you could buy with that.
Fuck me. And the party trunk, 300. That's Aussie. So what's about 250? Fucking hell. Casino trunk.
This is the Archie luxury channel, so you know, why not talk about luxury shit?
Expensive. This is so fucking expensive. $200 fucking $1,000. Who the fuck has this? I never seen this shit before. What is this stuff? I never heard of this stuff before, Mike. This is so expensive.
Yeah, this is crazy, man.
Expensive.
This is crazy.
We got some more super chats coming in here. Patel Philippe says $5. He goes, pick Phoenix or OG, Breguet. Oh, Phoenix brand or original, Breguet. Phoenix, Lange Phoenix, Patek OG, Blancpain Phoenix, Moser OG, Vacheron OG, Druck Joe's OG, Zenith Phoenix, Seiko OG, Rolex OG, Breitling Phoenix, Pam Phoenix, Longines Phoenix. We've got another super chat here. Patel Philippe, $5. My wife's review of collecting Louis Vuitton by Paul Pluta. It gave me a headache. Thank you. Thank you indeed. Headaches are welcome. Mikey, I got to talk to you, man.
Yeah, it's been a while.
What is the... I want to ask you, Mikey, I'm just going to change some colors here. Get another background going for us. There we go. We'll get that. Maybe the sky is better.
Hey, we're coming up on the 4th of July here in 2 days, so that flag might be kind of preemptively appropriate.
Yeah, you might be right there, Mikey. That's a good point.
4th of July is a pretty big ass holiday for us, man. We set off fireworks everywhere where it's not going to burn down, and
Yeah.
it's a highly celebrated, one of the more celebrated holidays in America.
Oh, 4th of July is amazing. It's bigger than Halloween.
Yeah, probably. I think Halloween's most people's favorite, but I think you're correct.
Mikey, on the watch front there, what's going on, Mikey? Well, I suppose you're looking after your mum. You're in a holding pattern. You don't have money to waste at the moment, do you?
I am able to squirrel away a little bit each month. I am about 3/4 of my way back to buying a sub or a Sea Dweller or a Cameron.
Is there any updates for the car? Are you doing anything more to the car? Any modding? Any resto modding for the car, Mike?
No, at the moment the car's in perfect tune and running flawlessly, and like any changes I might want to do are like real big changes. So no, I'm just enjoying it as it is, and not pushing its limits or anything. I'm just enjoying looking really good in it, and only taking it to 3/4 throttle where it still has more gumption than it surprises me every time I get in it. It's an awesome little car, man. Thing's fucking rad.
Yeah. How is the motor? The motor's okay?
Motor's flawless. It's hopped up actually. It's got Carrera cams, which was a modern turbo upgrade. It's got a bigger than stock turbo. It's got
how many horsepower is it?
My guess would be about 400 to the wheels.
Okay.
So the engine's making obviously more than that due to drivetrain losses, but it tugs like 400 to the wheels for sure. And I have still yet to go full throttle with it. I'm taking it really slow because this car has old school mechanical fuel injection. There's no electronic fuel injection gives you warnings when it senses something's going wrong with your engine. It'll cut the fuel. It'll protect itself. The old cars don't do that. They just work until something fails and they go boom. And boom, in my case, is like 50,000 to rebuild or replace or repair. And I can't do that.
I got a super chat from Patek Philippe, $5. AC3, as we remember Independence Day for Americans, let's all be sure to remind T and Tickers that 1,550,000 pounds of Tickers gold was dumped in Boston Harbor.
Wow.
That's right, that was the T. The T, yes. Yes.
Yes, yeah. The Boston Tea Party, I think they called it.
Patek Philippe, $5. Mike the Snake, there's no way that car tugs that hard, man. Really?
Yes, it's very modified over the stock engine. And it's a lot lighter, than a lot of cars. And so it really yanks it to the point of being kind of scary. Like, I've broken the tires loose in second, just under power, like, shifting into second and giving it 3/4 throttle. And when the turbo kicked in, the back end kicked sideways. And I fully broke loose in second. And that's, with the size tires the car has, that's just an indication there. And then when you put it in third and you put it under boost and let it go, it just stuffs you in the back of the seat and keeps you there. It's different. it's silky. It's the turbo's a different kind of power, but yes, the car is much faster than stock, extremely fast, and very deceiving.
Yes, I totally get you, Mikey. I totally get you. Mikey, we've got another super chat from Little Dave, $2. Mike the Snake, could you smoke Mental Jock's Challenger? You've seen his Dodge Challenger?
Yes, I've seen the Challengers, and their red eye model with the huge engine, and is like in a straight line, insanely fast. Of course, it's going to be like faster than my car, but I think around the track, it might be a different story. But we've got 79 to 2024 of improvements of everything. So the newer cars handle better, just in general. So, lap time wise, well, a red eye would probably run a faster lap time just because it could go so much faster down the straights. But, an equally horsepowered car, modern, like Challenger or Camaro or Mustang would probably run similar lap times. I don't know. I'm just guessing.
Super chat from Patek Philippe, $5. $5. Mike the Snake, how much would AC3 shit his pants if you did a rolling burnout and yelled "Yee-haw" out the window with him in the 930 that tugs?
I don't know if you'd shit your pants. You might just laugh. But doing a like a clutch dump burnout start with a transaxled car is kind of really asking for trouble, and so burnouts isn't really on my list of things to do with my car. If it were like
right?
yeah, because the transaxles are really expensive, and they're like not as resistant to breakage from, like, when you want to do a burnout, you rev it up and you dump the clutch, right? And you just instantly start spinning your tires, and it's a huge shock load to the car. Well, transaxles don't like that. Regular front engine cars with a drive shaft and a rear end and rear wheel drive, they love that. They'll take that all fucking day long. Okay. But transaxle cars, they do not like that in general. And there's some strong ones that handle it, but man, if you break one, the costs are just like, it's not worth, doing your burnout. That's all I gotta say. It's
there was a footage of a guy who had a Mercedes AMG, and he was trying to do a burnout because of the computers. It doesn't like that shit. You know what I mean?
He didn't turn all his nannies off.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, they don't like that stuff. You know what I mean?
But I think most cars allow you to have an option where you can turn your nannies off to different degrees to allow you to do a burnout if you want. But they still retain like anti-lock brakes. But you can turn most cars, at least I know of. You can. It's best to leave them with them all on, because they'll literally save you. You almost have to try to crash your car if you have them all on. Like, you go into a turn too fast and they will cut your fuel. You can have it floored, and it'll cut your throttle, and it'll apply the right brakes, and it'll turn the wheel in the right direction, and you fucking make that turn. It literally like keeps you from crashing. But you turn all your nannies off, then it's up to you. Then you're gonna slide right off the road and wrap yourself around a tree.
Mikey, you got the Speedmaster. How do you find having the one watch, the Speedmaster? How is that going?
I find myself really wanting more. And
How often do you wear the Speedmaster?
I was wearing it daily for a couple months, and I just switched it out for my Seiko Orange Monster, which I'm now wearing for a while.
Yeah.
I took my Samurai in because I owned it for a year, and then it started reading like 2 minutes slow a day, and I took it in, and they lubed it and retimed it, and it came back within a week. It's running like 7 minutes slow, and now it's 2 months past my warranty, and they won't do shit for me. And the fuck if I'm gonna pay $350 to have a $500 watch overhauled to work better. I'd rather just smash it on your show for fucking special effects or something. And Seiko is no longer my favorite company.
Oh, I see. Did you ask them? You told them that it was still doing this fault?
Yeah, I got it back. I sent it in. I got it. Time checked, reset, and a quick lube. I didn't want to spend a lot of money, and it wasn't that old. And that got done. And when I got it back, it held time for about a day, and then it went right back to running super slow. And now it's down to like 7 minutes a day slow. It's not even worth wearing. Like, I'm having to reset it like every time I look at it. It's junk. It's absolute junk.
Remember your brothers were very anti you getting the car?
Yeah, they were, and I was very surprised at their change of heart.
They support it now?
Absolutely. That's just my mom. Everybody's happy that I'm happy.
Yeah.
That's the bottom line. I have a very caring, loving, wonderful family. And it's more important that they were able to make me happy than it was to overcome, I'm not going to lend you money, or I'm not going to help out, or whatever. I've paid everybody back by now already. I just needed momentary help. It was just something I wanted to pull off, and I needed a little bit of help, like for a minute. And
you owed the shop a bit of money. Have you paid them back?
Oh yeah, no, they were the first to get paid, and then I paid everything else off. It's mine. It's 100% done.
Yeah, that's the best way to be. You don't want to be owing people money. You know what I mean?
Exactly. I don't know anybody. And you know what, though? It can be to your detriment, because I've paid off 3 car loans, never made a late payment, made every payment, and completed each loan for my 2 BMWs and my Subaru BRZ. And my credit score is not that high, because if you want to improve your credit, you need to get some credit cards. You need to maintain like a few $100 and pay your interest on them. They like you to maintain, a balance.
Oh, it's crazy. The FICO thing is crazy. The way that works, it's crazy. We got another super chat in, Mike. You got another super chat. Little Dave, he's saying, Mike the Snake, could you settle for an Omega Seamaster Heritage, or are you going for the Rolex Submariner? Good question.
I'm saving for the 41 millimeter Submariner. What I just got rid of, honestly. I usually buy what I like.
Yeah.
What were you going to say?
Can you get one for what you sold yours for?
No, because I sold it to a Wolven who needed to turn around and make a profit again off of it. So, of course not.
No.
But I'll definitely be able to get it for a lot less than I paid for it originally, because I bought at the very top of the bubble. So I paid.
I hate that.
I paid an extra $1,000 or so more. I'll never hear the end of it on the chat. But I did what I did because I wanted it now, and I was fine
Well,
and willing to
I
pay
would probably
extra.
go back to Wolven and say, I'm looking for a Submariner. Can
Yeah.
you do me?
Oh, it might be the first person I call. I'm sure you'd probably be able to quickly accommodate me. I also have my local jeweler that I go through.
He was
Who
a
I
bit
can.
expensive, Mike.
His prices are right in line with all of the internet David SW prices, and those. He doesn't charge me $1 more or $1 less, and I can put him on the hunt for something. So I can say, hey, when you come across a mint, unworn 41 millimeter sub, box and papers, you know me, you know what I want. I want the full package. All 3 boxes if you can work it out. And I'm willing to pay the extra for it. And I'll wait a month, and then he'll give me a call, and he say, I got you covered. And I'll say, I'll be right down. And so that's kind of how it works between me and my jeweler. But then again, there's also my first experience with online dealings with like Wolven, and that worked out just fine. There was a little hiccup there, but it wasn't due to anybody's control. So I was a little bit impatient, but I had a lot out there. It was being delayed. So, but other than that, it was nothing anybody could control, and I understand that completely. And my dealings with them were wonderful, and I would absolutely do business with them again.
Yeah.
All four of those brothers are super nice guys.
They are very nice guys.
And very accommodating as well.
Yes. No, they are. They're great guys. It's one of these things, Mike. The thing is this. It was good that you could pull. I tell you one thing for sure. You're lucky you didn't put the money into that Vacheron. Remember, you're looking at that Vacheron because you would have lost a lot more money.
I couldn't have afforded.
I mean?
I couldn't have afforded it then, and it was it kind of still is a pipe dream. It's still a little out of my range. That's why my first purchase is just going to be to restart my collection with the sub, work my way up. As time goes on, I hope to be doing better, and eventually, I hope to get that 4500 Vacheron blue 3-hander.
Yeah. How many watches would be enough for you this time? Can I ask you that?
I'd probably be happy with 3 or 4. Or even 2 or 3 if they were the right ones.
So what would you like to get in the down the track?
Probably 3 or 4. Well, if we're talking high end, I'd like to get it overseas.
Yep, that's that 3-hander blue dial.
And I wouldn't mind, as much as I don't like the Royal Oak, I wouldn't mind getting like Hoff's AP. The music one. Like I think that's just cool as shit.
Oh, that'd be next to impossible, okay. Mike.
Well, I'm just saying, okay, these are the watches that, if we're talking in the high end, those are what I'd pick. If I'm in the mid range, then, I probably would, I really like that Omega Heritage. I really like the Monaco Caliber 11. There's a number of candidates in that range, and there's a bunch of Rolexes that I would gladly grab my sub of various no date sub, a regular 41 millimeter sub, a no date 40 millimeter sub for sure.
We got a super chat from Little Dave, $5. Mike the Snake, could you settle for an Omega CMAR? Oh, sorry. JBIDX, $5. Mike, did Seiko tell you to go back to making stupid YouTube, making stupid internet videos?
They told me to go back to making shitty wood lathe art,
Hmm.
That's what they told me.
What happened? That wood lay is that an easy way to make money making things yourself, or
It never is, but it's always a labor of love. And
Mhm.
like if I put my if I'm free with my own time all day every day and I'm able to concentrate, I can pump out enough of those lathes and different things, um, especially to order even at times, to really, you know, make enough to cover myself and then put a little away each month to be able to buy a watch or two a year easily.
Yeah,
You know, along
yeah.
with as well as putting some away, you know, in my savings and that. Um, but right now things are, you know, at a much slower pace. But I still am squirreling away for my next watch, and I'm uh, uh, using great restraint to just, you know, stand pat and not break down and go and buy a $6,000 or $7,000 watch. You know, I'm so
Maybe
tempted.
it's good to keep a bit of money up your sleeve, Mike.
What's that?
It's good to keep some reserve up your sleeve.
Oh, always. No, no. I mean, yes, I agree completely.
You know, instead of getting the Rolex Submariner, could you get a Seamaster Heritage? That's a retro Seamaster. Would that be enough for
Well,
you, or you want no?
I would want the Rolex first. And anytime I talk about anything, I'm always speaking in terms of that I have my nest egg, and it's not being affected. The difference between the Heritage and the Rolex is just a little bit of time.
We got a super chat here, GB $2. Mike the Snake, please tell us more about your consulting gig.
Yeah, I don't want to get into that right now.
Yeah,
But
we'll just
yeah,
leave Mike's. Mike, I think one big problem is because you are such a very friendly guy, you do tell too much personal stuff, and then people make fun of you and just
yeah,
tunnel you. And you know what? Don't go down that rabbit hole, Mike.
I'm not. I'm just yeah. I'd rather not discuss it.
It's I got to tell you, Mike, you've always try. You got to try your best. You follow your dreams.
I've always
And
followed my dreams.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's that's the important thing to do, isn't it? You gotta always be aware, Mike. There are many good things to pursue. Let's have a look at a couple things. Let's have a look. I'm going to have a look at some secondhand. Let's have a look here, guys. I'm going to bring something else up. We need some people to come on the stream. So if no one comes on, we're going to look up some.
Mark? Where's Mark? I miss Mark. Where's my dog
I'm
trainer?
not sure.
Mark.
Yes, I love.
I got a
Mark.
mug. I'm rubbing it right now. I'm rubbing my Mark mug. Come on,
Actually,
Mark. Jump on. Come on,
we
buddy.
miss Mark Goldberg.
Did he jump ship or do something weird that I didn't know about?
No, he's cool. Mark's fine. Sometimes he's busy.
Okay, I understand that. Absolutely. You've been seeing a lot less of me for the same reason. Not because I didn't want to be here, you know.
No. I completely get it. Let's have a look here, guys. Let's look at some secondhand cars in China. Let's have a look here, guys. Secondhand in China. What do we got available? We got Alibaba. Let's have a look here. What's for sale in Alibaba? You know, I
Chinese
like to.
copies. They copy a lot of cars.
Is that a bad thing?
No, but you'll see like what looks like a Toyota Tercel or something, and it's some Chinese name, and it's in every way a Toyota Tercel. They've completely cloned it, but that's what they're buying. That's what they're owning.
BMWs here. 3
okay.
Series, all-wheel drive 330i, 4-door sedan.
Yeah,
Let's
I'm
have
sure
a look.
there's enough, a bunch of those too. China's huge, man. I'm sure there's a bunch of everything.
And they're saying it's about, there's $36,000. Look at this. They've got cars for sale. I got to tell you, Mikey, the beautiful thing about China is they have so much. It's such a huge market. Let's have a look here. What do they got for sale? What's for sale? Secondhand. I want to get. They got some amazing looking cars here.
What are the brand names? What are the names of the brand?
They maybe you may not recognize them. They got Cherry, GAC.
See, that's what I'm talking about.
There's some weird names here, Volkswagen's very popular in China. Volkswagen is popular. Yeah,
I'm sure all the regular names are sold there as well. But probably for the upper echelon, the higher class can afford the real deal. And then, like I said, China's growing so insanely fast. There's a lot more people that are able to afford the cheap Chinese copy.
Yes. I got to tell you that you're right there. Let's see if we can get. We're going to JJ's stream. We're going to link to his stream today.
Sounds good. Let's do it.
It's I got to tell you guys, we need some more guests here. We don't have guests. There's nothing to run here. We need to get some guests. We need guests. I need some guests, Mikey. I need some guests. We had a great show. We had the Zeal on. We had Mr. Zoso. We had the Rancher. We need some guests. Without the guests, guys.
Survivor.
Yeah. I don't know why. We just need some guests here. Let's get some guests on the show. I'm posting the link. Let's get them on. Get them on.
There's Big Al. Hey, Big Al's Golden Watches. Boot Mike the Snake. Sure, man. Somebody else jump on.
They don't have nobody on. They don't have nobody. We have nobody on. If we don't get...
boot me after somebody else jumps on.
They just get nasty there. Come on, guys. We need to get some people on here. That's what we want to do. Me and Mike, we can talk for ages here, Mikey. Come on, guys. Come on. SR Bell, $2. Would you eat a man for 50,000 US? Fool. No, thank you, SR Bell. Fucking hell. Blondie saying do a gonzo. Do some gonzoing.
Hey, you got all the equipment? Can you plug it in quick enough?
Yeah. I don't really want to... The building I'm in, they're very sensitive because it's a...
Yeah, that's right. You're in China.
Yeah, they get a little bit funny if I go downstairs and start doing that. Not a good way to... it's just not a yeah. Mike, I got to tell you, I've really enjoyed coming. I'm flying home next week. That'll be good. It'd be good to get back. I've really had a good trip. I've been a bit yesterday. I was really sad with my. I don't know. I just sometimes with my son who's gone, Mikey. Tell you what, it's so easy to lose someone with these if they have these addiction problems, and there's no coming back. I tell you that now. We got another super chat. SR Bell. I don't think we'll even read that, SR Bell. Respect for people concerned there. 200,000. No, thank you. We would not. Oh my God. How did we get to this point? Mike, how did we get to this point? Tell me that.
Yeah, this is tasteful.
This is going down. We're spiraling out. Let's
Archie,
talk
have
about.
you ever heard of a type of boat called a...
I'll tell you what, Mikey, I'm going to show you something. Me and you can talk privately, okay? I'll tell you this now. We'll just pretend these. If no one else wants to see, I really wanted someone to jump on and we can share our experiences with, right?
Sure.
I'm still convinced that bauxite board is real, okay? I'll tell you that now. I think it's actually real, okay? But hey, you know what?
I wouldn't. No, I couldn't. I couldn't comment on that.
I had fun in London. London was a lot of fun. I tell you what.
Are you going to make New York? I'm hoping to make New York.
Mike, that's a tricky one because it is.
It's a long way.
It's expensive. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I'm hoping to make it there, but not. Only.
Look, I'll tell you what we'll do. Let's have a look. I'm going to have a look at a couple photos. Let's look at some photos here. We'll bring some photos up because I haven't done this. Let's have a look, guys. We're a little bit. Okay, let's have a look. These are some photos. This is going to England. This is flying into London. Now, London is an amazing place because you fly in and you see so much stuff down below.
Mm-hmm. I always love window seats, and I always love that window seat because I love to watch the wings do their thing, like on takeoff and landing. I love to see all the mechanics.
Yeah, I like that too, actually. I must agree with you. So this is coming into Heathrow Airport in London, coming in. You can see now this was the Bro House. This is when I turned up. This is, and the funny thing is, in England itself, it's a really pleasant, cool weather. You've got pleasant, cool weather. That was the front of the Bro House. That was actually quite good. Go and have a look. There we go. That's the Bro House. And you can see the gargoyle. See the gargoyle on the roof there, Mikey? Look at that. We've got a dragon on the roof. Look at that. Gargoyle.
Wow. That's a big old house.
Yep. So let's have a look here. So these are some photos. So just after we went into dropped the luggage off, we then went into the city. It's just a little walk, basically 300 meters down the road. There's some shops here. Oh, that's me. That's me. Fuck, I haven't had a shave there. This is the Bro House. There we go. That's the Bro. That's out the front. That's me getting ready to go out. Look at these cobblestone streets, Mikey. These are really quite amazing.
Yeah, that's like pure history right there,
And so this here was when we went into London. This is when we went to the pub. This is where we went to meet This is where we went to meet Muhammad Ali. Okay. There's a Sainsbury. That's one of their famous supermarkets there, Sainsbury. You can see
is that Dodger? Is that Dodger right there on the left?
Dodger. You betcha, man. Good eye. They had some. So let's have a look here. So they had flowers for sale. £12. That's fucking $25 Aussie. That's not so cheap. 5 stems, £8. Fuck, everything is expensive. Roses, 10 stems, 20. That's $40 fucking dollars. Holy, and they didn't look that great. $40. Holy
I think
fuck.
it's about similar here in America for like a dozen roses, long stem red roses or
Look
something.
at this. Here we go. We're waiting. There's OC. Look at this beautiful tree greenery. This is England that you love. Look at the history. Look at the buildings.
Yeah.
Now this here is Hampstead Station. Oh, and this is what I had for lunch. So it was I got the burger with chips. It's that was $40. $30 US.
Wow.
Is that? I mean, fuck. There we go. That's me, OC, Gary there. You can see the boys there. Jock. There's Dodger at the back there having a smoke. I think that's Thomas Burnett. Is that Thomas Burnett there? Me and Marcelo. That's out the front of a synagogue. Look at that. See that there? Some photos.
There's Jamie.
There. Many. So these are the house. Look at it. It's just beautiful. Look at it. It's just. This was another pub. This is the pub we went. The Old White Bear. This is the pub. So just some beautiful. Look at. I just like these type of buildings. Look at these buildings here. Like you could see how in olden times it'd be quite depressing as fuck, but here quite picturesque. Flower box out the front. It's just quite enjoyable.
Quaint.
Very quaint.
Yep.
And
reminds me a lot of the buildings that I saw when I was in France, near the French-German border in Alsace.
yeah.
The buildings all had kind of a different architecture and lots of cobble streets, and you just saw a lot of heritage and history in the buildings and stuff. It's really cool.
Yeah. No, it is very cool. Let's keep having a look here. Inside the Bro House, it had the most dodgy wiring, electrical work I'd ever seen in my life. Fuck, I don't know who the fuck, how they got away with this. It's really kind of dangerous, It's not good. Dodgy electrical work, you know what I mean? I don't know how the fuck, like that's wires. Are they live? What the fuck is that? I mean, fuck.
That's probably an unused wire, an unterminated wire showing wire on the end, touching metal. I don't know. This looks like a bowl of spaghetti, man. This looks like a scary situation. Yeah, scary.
There's me and Jamie.
Jamie!
We're in the Bro House. Look at that. I had a really nice time with Jamie. He's a lovely guy.
I agree. They do all look, not all, but a lot of them look like low voltage wires, but still. Some of them didn't. Some
Jamie.
of them looked like
This is the Bro House. Look at this here. Look at this. We're getting ready to go out. Look at this. This is inside the Bro House. Jamie's always looking dapper. He's a nice he's a lovely guy, Jamie.
Yes.
OC was there. Look at that. That's the Bro House.
That's a very nice house.
And this is when we went for a drive. This is in the Uber to a show. BMW
Hey, wait a minute.
5.
The steering wheel's on the wrong side.
Yeah, that's how we drive in Australia as well.
Oh, I guess so, huh?
There's Thomas OC. This is at the event. We're going for the break. There's D. OC. This was the breakfast. Beautiful roof. Beautiful
Is that a
bar.
buffet style
Yeah,
breakfast?
we had a buffet. It was good. It's a nice breakfast. There is Tanzil.
There's the Tan Man.
Watch. Look at the watches there. Dunk. That's Thomas's Tudor. We've got a. I think that's OC's Platinum Day Date. World Time on the Zeal. I got the Breguet, and that's Red Shovel's Omega Seamaster.
There you go.
There's Roman Sheriff. Look at that, Roman.
Very cool.
Mental Jock.
Mr. Jock himself.
Tudor. I was having a look at some watches there. Tudor. That's
Seamaster.
I think the Breguet was a good watch to take because it got a lot of interest. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot more unusual than if I would have taken a bluesy. You know, this is kind of the Breguet is kind of a.
Well, people just go, oh, bluesy. But when they see yours, they'd be like, what is that?
Exactly. This is a Tokyo Olympic Speedmaster. That's quite a nice limited edition. That. Can I get a front picture of that? We'll have a look.
Kind of cutting out there.
Just having a look. There we go. That was another AP at the event. Now this was a grail. Look at this. It's a Patek World Time. This is steel. Patek World Time chronograph. Fuck.
Is this like 41?
Oh, that's a police. Someone had a police cap. Look at that. And this is Wembley Stadium. Not to be confused with Wimbledon. I thought Wembley was Wimbledon, but it's actually, sorry, I got that confused. It's looking at the, that's day date. Let's have a look.
Arch, were you able to see those, the Queen's men on the horses that stand there at arms all day and sit on their horses all day?
Oh, the Queen's Guard.
Yeah, the Queen's Guard. Were you able to see them?
No, I didn't go to Buckingham Palace.
Oh, okay.
I didn't. Look. You can look. I stayed with the bro house. I did what I didn't want to be accused of not sort of partaking. You know.
Sure.
So, I wanted to stay with all the guys in that.
Oh, sure. Plus, you can't hit every fucking thing. Even if we're out and about.
Exactly right. So let's have a look here. I'll show you some more pics. Let's have a look. So that's inside the bro house. They're making breakfast. That's some of the watches. I did a review. Now, this is when we went to BQ. They've got a really amazing showroom. This is a new facility for them.
Looks
BQ
new.
Watches London. They got that used to be a supermarket, and they turned it into their showroom. Fuck, it's beautiful. They spent a lot of money, and fuck, it is really nice.
Arch, I'll be back in 30 seconds.
Yeah, no worries. Take your time, man. No rush. So this is inside BQ Watches. And I tell you what, it was really, they spent a lot of money here. Nicely done. That was cool. Let's have a look. This is the bar downstairs. And then we went upstairs. There's Roman. We had a great time. It was fantastic. England, I got to tell you, got so much history. Look at these buildings here. So beautifully done. Just beautifully done. England itself there, I got to tell you, it is well worth the visit. Let me say this to you guys. It's well worth the visit. Would I go again? You know what? I loved England. The problem is it's such a long flight from Australia. That's the problem. It is so long, and that's the big thing. It is so long. You know, you kind of just... Now, this is inside the BMW for Muhammad Ali. Holy fuck. Not only does he drink in his car, he smokes cigars. Now, the funny thing is, it had actually come up pretty well with the detail. But, yeah, he enjoys life. He's got it's a 328i. Beautiful color. It's a nice car. It's actually an F30. That's the previous model to mine. I'm not sure some of his parking techniques may not be the best. What do you think, Mike? Some of the parking, what do you think there?
Yeah, wheels can be bought and replaced.
There we go. We're going for another drive. Look at this. This is the thing I love. Look at the history of the buildings. London's got a lot of history, but there's a fuckload of traffic. And one thing you hate is being next to a white transit van. They tend to be the big cuts on the road.
Can't see around them.
Yeah, houses. It's kind of funny. You look at these houses. It's everything is sort of estate agency, sales, letting, management, pharmacy. They're just very, very little village. It's very
cottage.
different.
Cottage.
Yeah. That's actually a nice BMW there. That's an M3 competition. Look at that.
Yeah,
M4.
M4
competition.
M4.
Sorry, M4. Very nice looking motor car there.
I like the taillights.
Actually, this here was when I was in... This was the hotel that Jock got for me. Don't say Jock never does anything for Archie. He got me into this beautiful hotel, and he let me stay there. He's a good guy. He's a very, very good guy. And I got to tell you, there's... this was when I was at the airport. The airport. Let's have a look here. Is that the airport? This was... I had a good sleep. He was very kind to do that. This is getting into the Heathrow here. I made it in. This is once I cleared customs. They have no duty. So there's duty free really isn't a thing because there's no duty. There's some... Look at this. This is a watch box with a pink interior. I suppose that's definitely a ladies' choice there. Ladies' choice. What do you think of that box there? Pink, Mike.
Not my first choice of colors, but very nice looking. Especially when it's closed. Especially when closed.
There we go. Just waiting for my food to us. I always like to, what I normally do is when I fly somewhere, I like to get a good meal before I go on the plane. I fucking hate, unless you're flying business class, the food really is, that fucking microwave fucking pre-cooked shit.
In those weird foil covered fucking.
Oh fuck! I hate that.
Airplane food. I'm in complete agreement. But I've never flown first class either, so I wouldn't know the difference between that and that. But no, I'm with you.
Dubs, what's going on? The comms.
I'll be right back.
The
I'll
comms.
be right back. Gotta let my dog back in.
Yeah, get out of here, Mike.
Okay.
You're a dud. Archie,
How's it
Archie,
going,
they're rebel
Steve?
streaming you, mate.
What you up to? How are you going, man?
I'm always
How are you going?
I'm always your friend, Arch. Don't let these dogs tell you any different. I'm always your mate. I'm always in your corner, loyal to the core. What's this OC rebel streaming you, mate? OC's rebel. They're rubbing your nose in it. They're rubbing your nose in it.
It doesn't matter. I don't understand that guy. Sometimes he can be a bit strange. He can be a bit strange, that one, but that's okay. Guys, the London trip was very, very cool. It was, I've got some. I'm glad I could go through some memories with the guys there, and it was very good to be there. I gotta say, Mikey. Mikey, you there? Mikey? Mikey? I think we got Mikey there. It was a lot of fun. We had fun there. And I got to tell you, the wonderful thing about England is that I'd go again. It's just such a long trip. That's the only problem with England. It is so long away. But I got to be honest with you. It is a very good place to go to and enjoy yourselves there. That's for sure. Guys, we got a super chat from Patek Philippe. $2. Please describe your last meal on Air Canada. You know what? I flew Air Canada. I had an A350, which is a really modern aircraft. Really good aircraft, actually. And the food on Air Canada, I didn't eat. But the thing is, you know what? I want a safe airline that gets me to my destination. That's the most important components. So it's not really the end of the world. So guys, I tell you what, we've had a great show today. I'm going to wrap this baby up there. We've got a list of people who super chatted today, and they need to be thanked. We had Rich Mitch, thank you. We had Happy Meal, thank you. We had Mr. GMT. Apes, always entertaining Apes. We had Thomas Burnett. We had Patek Philippe. The guy is very cool. He is super cool. And you got to be grateful that he helps us out so much. So that's greatly appreciated. We had Mr. Zoso, Patek Philippe, ABC, Patek Philippe, Elds, Toyota Mo, Patek Philippe, Ryan J. O'Frey, Patek Philippe, Ross Rachel Brady Network, Patel Philippe, Gun Glutton, Patel Philippe. Patel Philippe, Patel Philippe, Patel Philippe, Patel Philippe, Patel Philippe, Patel Philippe, Little Dave, Patel Philippe, Little Dave, JBIDX, GB, SR Bell 67, SR Bell, and Patel Philippe. Guys, it has been a really good show today. We had some fantastic support. Thank you, The Zeal, for starting early. That was greatly appreciated. Mikey, thank you for helping me, man.
Sure,
I
Arch.
really do appreciate it. You help us out. You come on the stream. You know, sometimes it goes a bit flat, but you are loyal. You always, you don't mind. You come on, chat, talk. I got to tell you what I'm going to talk to you just before we go. I want to just tell you something. I had a weird, so 2 nights ago, I woke up, mosquitoes were biting the fuck out of me. I woke up, went for a piss, then I came back and I had some really bad thoughts about my son. Then last night, I had a weird dream, Mikey. I had a dream somebody lent me a Ferrari Dino 246 Targa to play with over a weekend. And the weirdest thing is, I remember it with the Ferrari Dino, there's a thing called flares and chairs. It had, with the chairs refers to, it has the Daytona seat upgrade. So it actually had this car that it was in my dream. It had it was yellow, fly yellow, Targa top, and it had a caramel interior with the Daytona chairs. It didn't have the flares, it had the chairs. The flares are the side guards are slightly bolder.
Sure,
but
sure.
Anyhow, I just remember that. And it also, I knew it was a real Ferrari. You know how I knew it was a real Ferrari? Second gear didn't always work.
Gated shifter?
It had a gated shifter, but when you put it into second, it didn't always engage properly. It had problems. I knew it was a real. It was. I knew. You know. It was so real. The car was a bitch even in the dream. You know. And
character.
Yeah, it was amazing dream. We got a sticker for Mookie to $4 super sticker. T-Dubs is trying to jump on, but T-Dubs, I don't really want you on because I don't know why you mention other shows, and I've seen you on WN's channel. I don't think you're that loyal. I'm sorry, T-Dubs. And I kind of had enough. I thought you were a friend, but I don't know. T-Dubs, I'm just wrapping up, and I don't know what I can say to you. You want to come on and cause trouble? I don't know. I need guests. I don't need hassle. I need good guests like Mike the Snake. So I got to tell you, Mikey, I had that one thing I noticed in China is they don't respect classics. Like it's funny. Like I love the BMW E38. That's the 7 Series from the late 90s. You don't see those. You don't see older anything here. There's nothing older. And that's kind of a shame. You know what I mean, Mikey?
Yeah, I agree.
That older stuff is really cool. You know, they don't like classic. They like modern, the latest model, the best, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I get it. I understand it, but it's a little bit disappointing. You know what I mean?
Sure. I mean, the urge to own the latest and greatest is probably greater than the urge to own something classic and, with history for some people.
Yeah, I just find it sad. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, it's yeah. I just find it's sad. Um, but look, it is what it is. You know, it is what it is. You can only try your best. That's all you can do, man. Um, you can only try your best. But it's been we had a good show today. I really enjoyed talking and sharing some of the photos there. I thought the photos were really nice.
Yeah. It was
Um,
cool checking those photos out.
This time next week, I'll be back in Australia. I'm going to stay in Australia for a couple of weeks, and then
Wow.
I'm going 1st of August. Actually, the 2nd of August, I'm starting the road trip. I'm going to do a road trip, Mikey, because you know what? I kind of said to myself, what can I do? I already got the car. I pay each month on its payments. You know what? Let's do a fucking road trip. Now, I wanted to ask you, I'm going to take my luggage with me. I'm going to take some stuff. I might take some cleaning stuff for the car. I'll take a bucket, sponge, a chamois. What else would you take for the road trip? Anything else?
Couple of microfiber rags, maybe some spray wax, so instead of having to wash,
Yes,
the clear wax, so you don't have to wash the car really. While you're on your trip, you can just spray wax it clean, wipe it clean with microfiber cloth, and just be on your way and looking just as good.
Good point.
Carrie can't fix a flat unless did you get new tires and get run flats again?
Yeah, I had to get run flats because.
Oh, that's right. It's under warranty. It's a lease. Yeah, fuck.
Yeah, I hate run flats. They're noisy.
Me too. I was leading up to saying Carrie can't fix a flat, but you only need those with regular tires.
When I bought the car, he goes, "Oh, run flats. These tires are really good." Imagine your wife driving somewhere and she gets a flat, and you don't want her changing a tire on the side of the road. You can keep driving. And I said, well, she wouldn't be changing a tire. She'd ring the auto club. But, and those run flats, they don't always work, depending on the type of puncture you get. They don't, if you get a sidewall damage, they're totally invalid, But, yeah, it is what it is, Mikey. You can only try your best.
Yep.
That is all you can do.
Now, do you have wheel and tire insurance as part of your package? Okay, so yeah, if you get a sidewall rip or a sidewall hole from a nail, they won't. Yeah, that's on your dime. Or it's not even fixable. They can't plug it or patch it from the inside. By law, they're not allowed to.
Yeah, I know. Have you heard the saying, the law is an ass?
Mm-hmm. Living here in California. Fun.
And with the BMW, sometimes you got to pair the tires. You can't just replace one. You got to pair the fucking thing.
Sure. You got staggered wheels.
I heard with all-wheel drive tires, you've got to replace all four at once. Is that true?
It's probably advisable, yeah.
You know how fucking expensive that is?
Well, they probably all wear evenly, and I'm not sure. I couldn't say because I've not really looked at them if they run square, like if they run the same size front wheels as they do the rear, right? If they do, then you can rotate them. You can make them last damn near forever, and then when it comes time to replace them, you just replace all four.
Do you like staggered tires?
Oh, staggered, of course. It looks so much better, especially when you stuff as much tire as you can under the rear fender well with the right size wheel and offset, and the same with the front. Yeah, it just looks way better. Lower the car
And
a
we
little
got
bit.
P-Pen, $2. Most people already knew T-Dubs was a grub. Yes, they did indeed. They knew T-Dubs was a grub. Smartest man in Australia for a good reason, T.P. Clen. That's right. Yeah, he just likes to cause. I don't know what's wrong with him at times. He just wants to. I don't know. Some people are here to help you. Some people are just hinder you. I don't get his shtick. I tried to help him. I kind of like the guy. Took him out for dinner. Got him shoes. He doesn't seem that grateful. That kind of annoys me. Kind of annoys me. But
Well, not everybody you meet and put a little energy into instantly has to be a fast friend, like a hard, fast friend.
No.
Sometimes you meet people and you just don't hit it off like gangbusters, and it just is what it is.
I know what you mean, Mikey. It's disappointing because I kind of like the guy, but he just turns out to be a real snake. I don't know if I need friends like that. You know what I mean? Very snaky.
You don't need anybody that's gonna say something different behind your back that they wouldn't say in front of you.
And I've been collecting junk. Mike. Like I was gonna keep this box. Tan gave me the chocolates, right? Thinking, what the fuck do I want to keep this box for? Why?
Honestly, that might be a box I would chuck up in the top of the garage with my collection of boxes, because there might be something someday that I might want to ship to somebody. And that's the reason I keep little boxes like that.
I got boxes like that in the garage,
Yeah, so you get to a point where you have enough boxes saved, then
How about foam? You collect the foam, the bubble wrap? I collect that as well.
I've found the perfect packing.
I'm running out of that shit, Mikey.
I found the perfect packing material. I don't use foam. The best packing material in the world is crumpled up plastic shopping bags. If you crumple up into a ball.
I used to use them, but they don't give those away anymore.
They do here, and they're thick. They're the thick, not the really flimsy, thin plastic bags. At my grocery store, they're the thick ones. And you wad those up into a ball, and you encase whatever you're shipping in that, and you pack it really good and tight, and you can huck that box out of the back of your car on the freeway, let it bounce to a stop, and everything inside will be just fine. It is the most solid way to send anything in a box, especially something delicate.
I understand what you're saying there, Mike. It's it's a tricky thing, isn't it?
It kind of was tricky until I discovered the shopping bag trick. Now it's just I've got bags and bags and bags in my garage of shopping bags. I've saved them because when it comes time to ship a vase, or something like that, it takes like 30 or 40 of those things all balled up and to solidly, encase that vase in a bigger box and make sure it ain't going to move around at all. And so, yeah, I save all my shopping bags for shipping purposes. And it does get to a point where you got to start throwing them out, though. I got 3 or 4. I got enough to ship another vase or 2 out. No need for me to really be saving anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, I know exactly what you mean there, Mike. It's
ABC says,
Mike-
save the turtles. I'm with you, man. Save those turtles.
Yeah. Guys, that is the show for today. Thank you so much. We'll be back tomorrow. We had a good show with Luxie. I was thinking, by the way, Mikey, I was thinking of going down. I'm going down to Melbourne. I was thinking of going. They wanted me to go to Adelaide, but I think it's just too far. I got to draw the line in the sand somewhere. Otherwise,
Yeah.
it's an extra 750 kilometers. Fuck, it's so far.
That's like
I'd like to
here
see
to
JL.
LA.
JL, but it's a long fucking add-on, and he can come to Melbourne if he wants. That's what we could do. So yeah, it is what it is. Guys, that is the show for today. Thank you so much, and I will see you tomorrow, guys. Thank you.
Archie, thank you for having me on, man. It's always an honor.
And upvote. Remember to upvote before you
Upvote.
leave, guys. Upvote now.